org. That's ATEASE.org.
A planned presidential commission on college athletics has reportedly been put on pause. The move comes just a week after former Alabama football coach Nick Saban, who was reportedly selected to be the commission co-chair, downplayed the need for such a commission. The Alabama Department of Human Resources and the State Department of Education are set to distribute Alabama Sunbucks benefits to eligible children this summer. Sunbucks will provide a one-time issuance of $120 per school-age child for grocery benefits. For 1819 News, I'm Carl Brady.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
How did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Malcolm is a listening learner, so he checks with Babbel's speech recognition to be
Precio.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates, other insurers, not available in all states or situations.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Fat broads and horse-faced lesbians.
Shut up, silly woman.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program here out of Montgomery, Alabama. Beautiful day, beautiful Friday. And no Eddie Bader, I think. He's on the lake showing some lake property. I mean, that's hard work right there. But in studio with me for this Friday, Craig Monger. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing quite well. I think Eddie's just avoiding me because he doesn't want to pay up.
I was about to start with that. I mean, I think I'm going to join y'all. I'll pay for my own thing. I'm not going to make them pay for me. But I think we should start looking at that menu.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, the bet was that you thought Tuberville was running.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Eddie was a stupid man for saying, no, he's not going to do it, because this has been not just a rumor, but kind of like the word for months now on insider circles.
Well, technically, when we made the bet, it was a little bit less
fair,
less of an open secret.
That is fair.
But what is it? I think next week is the announcement, and Ainsworth dropping out. He's running.
He's definitely running. Yeah, Ainsworth would not drop out. And again, I tip my hat to Ainsworth for being a man and not doing the slimy politician thing of like, let me go run for Senate or something else.
It would have gotten so ugly if Tuberville and Ainsworth ran against one another. I'm all for political drama, and I would have been uncomfortable with a level of ugly.
It would have been incredibly ugly. And who knows? I think Ainsworth going home, maybe he can come back at some point.
Oh, of course he can.
He's still a young man.
He'll stay relevant. He'll stay there. I mean, and the fact is, he gets stuff done. People like him. As long as he stays involved, that seat's going to be waiting for him. Because I think I said this several weeks ago. The only person on planet Earth that could beat Ainsworth for that seat is named Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah. So Eddie, get ready to pay up, and it's going to be not just like, oh, get the case or something. No, we're getting the spread.
Oh, you have no idea. He has no idea what's coming for him. And we agreed for Smokehouse, right? Smokehouse Pit Barbecue.
I thought it was more the Mexican place in Hope Hole that he was.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm down with Smokehouse. Or we should just go to Smokehouse anyway. We don't need no stinking bet.
No, we don't need a stinking bet. But yeah. So Eddie's gonna have to pay up, and he is so lucky I'm sober, because I would go through margaritas like it was my job.
I was never really a margarita guy.
Only with Mexican. I'm like a good Patron. Yeah. And I'm talking like, if I see you get a bottle of margarita mix, I'm going to split your head in half with a hatchet.
You know, given all your craziness, the former drunken Craig, and I've had Drunken Joey's a very real thing.
Yeah, but Drunken Joey's friendly and makes
Drunken Joey falls asleep.
See, that's stone. That's funny you should say that. My brother, when I was running around, I had a legendary constitution. And like it was something to behold.
You're a big guy.
Yeah. And I was much bigger then. Actually, I was pushing 300 at that point. So my brother was always desperate to try to get me drunk. He was like, I want to see you drunk. So he gets a handle of Seagram 7 one time, and he hated it. And so he just gives it to me. And so I just turn it up and chug what was left over. And the next day he was so disappointed. I don't remember anything. He was like, I've wanted for years. I've tried to get you drunk. You know what you did? I remember going blind, and that's about it. But he said, you filled up the sink with water, dunked your head in it like 5 times, and then you fell asleep on the couch.
Yeah, you did the common sense thing somebody would do. It's like, I feel like my blood pressure, I'm about to explode.
So after that, he gave up. He's like, because apparently it's just like you're nothing. You look completely sober until you just pass out. Like there's no drunk, Craig.
Now, I when I was drinking heavy, I just pass out. I've fallen asleep in bars. I have fallen asleep in strip clubs. I have fallen asleep
behind the wheel.
No, thank God, no. I think I have a guardian angel that kept me from doing anything that would end me up in prison or killing somebody or hurting myself.
Thank God.
Thank God. No. And but you look back on a lot of it was fun. And just fall asleep in the middle of a sentence, like on New Year's Eve, sitting on my back porch. It didn't go out. I'm not going out for New Year's Eve. Let's just hang out. And it was a bunch of folks. I was living like 4 or 5 guys. And I just in mid-sentence they said I was drinking Jameson.
That was a good call.
And a good bit of it just pass out. I think I have that allergy or whatever that certain people have.
Yeah.
That said, in all of your experience and mine, I'm wondering, do you buy into this idea that like whiskey makes you feel a certain way, tequila makes you feel a certain 100%. Way, wine makes you feel beer?
100%.
Okay.
It's not even a question to me. There's a difference between being wine drunk.
Yes.
I'd say it's more different between the types of alcohol, like beer drunk and wine drunk.
Tequila
and
really is crazy. Take your clothes off stuff.
Tequila and absinthe are the only 2 liquors that have a very distinct sensation.
Yes.
It's fascinating too. I wonder if they've actually done any studies on that. I haven't thought to look it up.
Last time I looked into it, scientists were like, no, ethanol is ethanol. Like, I mean, the alcohol is just alcohol. But I'm wondering, well, what about all the other stuff in there? Exactly. How it interacts with the alcohol, how it interacts with that feeling. Because in my experience, whiskey's more that warm sort of, and maybe you get a little angry, but it's sort of that warm thing. Beer is sort of like, woohoo, let's have a good time. Wine is, it's like the tongue gets big or something. I don't know. Yeah. That's a weird way to put it.
No, it is. It is. You almost feel like hyper inflamed.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, but you also feel nice and, I don't know, warm is a good word. It's a good word.
And then tequila, people get naked. They really do. It's like it's something is going either really right or really wrong with tequila.
Yeah, and absinthe is just a call for chaos.
I loved it for a little while. But down in Cloverdale, Leroy used to do it like with the proper pour, like
And
the
sugar
fancy
cube, yeah.
Yeah, and they had like the fancy dispenser, water dispenser distiller.
I'm telling you, absinthe makes a good cocktail. If you're someone like, you know, there's just people, it's like cilantro. Either you love the licorice taste or you hate it with a passion.
Mhm.
So I've found that people either love or hate absinthe, but absinthe is
I
like
like
it was a great creative tool. I'm not gonna lie. There's a reason why a lot of artists have
and the
preferred
old
absinthe.
had almost like a worm, what is it, wormwood, I
Yeah.
believe, or something like that. So it had an extra aspect to it. I don't know. I just was going down that rabbit hole of like, man, there really are differences. Now, I watched, I just put the cards on the table. I watched your interview with 1819's El Jefe.
Oh yeah,
Brian Dawson.
I was so nervous about that one because El Jefe was having some internet troubles, so the connection was slightly wonky, and I couldn't see him during the interview. And you know how that is. That's just kind of like.
Oh, I watched it. He's staring right into the camera. Those steely blues, just like he's right. He's paying attention.
He could see me. I couldn't see him. But yeah, it was a good time, even with, like I said, such a heavy topic.
Well, and what y'all talked about, of course, was the fallout from the Bubba Copeland story, which I was not here that week.
You weren't.
No, I was on. It was like I rarely take a vacation. I was gone for 3-4 days to go see my niece Lucy had just been born.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I saw the stories like through the week, I'm like, this is nuts. This is nuts. And then heard the awful news of the tragedy of his suicide. I'm kind of glad I wasn't on air because I remember saying to my father, they're going to make a martyr out of this sick coward. I didn't just use the word coward.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up. Some Esquire wins a Pulitzer for some puff piece where they don't even cite any of the facts of the stories you ran.
No, I mean they cite a few, but you can lie without telling untruths.
Yeah,
and I think this Esquire writer showed that fairly clearly. And yeah, it's always nice when your work gains a Pulitzer, just not for you.
Right? It's got to be frustrating. As I'm listening to it, number one, I want to ask you off air, like, what should I do to up my security in case I just happen to be in the middle of the Eye of Sauron at some point and the hordes of Mordor are coming my way? It probably would be good, and just good advice to anybody who's been through it.
Yeah.
Like, here's what you do to make sure you and your online information and your home, personal information is all secure. But I was wondering through all that, I'm sure there's a lot of disturbing things. Obviously, it's not fun to even maybe revisit, and it still haunts to this day a little bit.
It's something. Is it fun to revisit? No, but at the same time, I haven't been allowed to not think about it every day since it happened. So there's no sense in trying to avoid something that's inevitable.
So one angle, I was, because I listened to the whole thing, and I'm like, it was very good discussion between you and Brian. But part of me is like, especially when you're getting a lot of the attention from the hordes. Was there anything that was so crazy that it was comical?
Oh God, yeah. I got people were photoshopping me on gay porn all over the place. My email, I got signed up for thousands, and I'm not kidding when I say thousands of various gay sites and trans sites and whatever. And that is just on top of I would have to think close to 5,000 hate emails I received.
Wow. And then some are like barely literate, right?
Oh yeah, some are barely literate, some were funny. They I was a little bit heavier at the time, so people were always making fun of my neck. They kept calling me like Neckzilla and stuff like that. That kind of hurt.
When did John Cena become a reporter?
Yeah, it was it was hilarious, and it was funny to see the puerile argumentation too, especially from people in the state who were like trying to who saw us as competition and as a threat at what 1819 is doing, and they thought that this is our opportunity to really take them down. And coming from the same people that exposed John Merrill's sex life, that actually was private. Nothing about that was posted on the internet as opposed to.
Well, and honestly, I had to, when I wrote that recent thing about Merrill, I revisited sort of the basic facts and all that. That was just a bitter, scorned lover.
Yeah.
There was no reason to run with, like, I don't know. I didn't like
Well,
it.
I mean, fair enough for running with it.
Yeah.
But of course, it got shopped to some little piddling website that everyone else picked up, which is how it's done in the state because media is run by feckless cowards. And so what they'll do is they don't want to have the courage to run a story initially. So they'll feed it to some, bottom feeding blog essentially. And then they're like, well, we didn't do it. We're just running off what they said and whatever. But yeah, I mean, they straight up just, this is a private adulterous relationship, still immoral, but private. So it was very difficult to take that level of hypocrisy from people that were very content to expose this public figure's life. But because they were promulgating the lie that this was some sort of transgender martyr, and I think, crazy. And funnily enough, I think Matt Walsh was the first person to articulate that incredibly well. They said they're looking for a trans George Floyd, and they're trying to make Bubba Copeland him.
Yeah, but it just doesn't work when you look at the underlying facts. The homoerotic slasher fiction with not just making it up like fantasy, which would be bad enough if you're a pastor and a mayor of a city.
Yeah.
Hey, Stephen Reed, you're doing weird stuff. I would like to know about that, man. Like if you're not true to your character, but it went beyond that to using the actual real names of people in the community, real pictures of children in the community. This was progressing, I'd imagine. I don't know. We don't have to revisit the whole story, but it's disturbing.
It's fine. It's fine. I understand you might feel that I'm trepidatious to talk about it, but I'm not. I promise. Again, nobody else is going to let me forget it, so why am I going to?
Well, I'm trying to rein myself in because I just want to make jokes after jokes after jokes, and I'm like, it's a very tragic thing.
Those are for the private chat. Those are for the private chat. No. Oh shoot. What was I saying? What did you?
There were real people in the community being essentially used for his sadistic sexual fantasy.
Yeah. This is where, and I don't want to seem like I'm not trying to climb off my cross here and seem noble, but in all sincerity, that was the most heartbreaking thing for me about this situation is that there were more people than just mentioned in my articles, by the way, that were legitimately victimized by this guy. And I was in the process of exposing more of that victimization. And some of it went to a little bit more, it seemed like it might go a little bit more extreme than just the online erotica.
Yes.
And I was talking to people, I was working those angles. And after he took his life, when these people that I was communicating with saw what was happening to me, what was happening to the members of my company, I don't judge them at all. Right. It's a very smart move. They decided, I want no part of this. He's dead. What more justice can I get? I'm just going to be quiet and not bring this upon myself. But you're 100% right. He was taking pictures of children from his community and putting them up online without their permission, with sexual connotations. And there was one that he put on Pinterest, and it was like this 8-year-old girl in a cheerleader's costume, and it had this commentary, this dom sub commentary behind it, and it just filthy, disgusting, vile things that he would put up there. And the worst part about it was when I posted just stuff from his Reddit, and there was this meme, boy and a girl, both underage, both it was done to make it look like one transition to the other with the caption, take the shots, get the implants, become the whore. And I put that because it was on his Reddit, and I just put that in our story. The children's father contacted me and said, hey, those are my kids. Could you please take them down?
That's a crazy way to find out. No, and because you didn't even think, he would take actual pictures of people that he knows from his church.
Yeah. Yeah. And I ended up, I tried to get more information out of him. I wasn't negotiating. I'll say, hey, I'm happy to do this, but can you give me some more information? He didn't respond. And I just made the decision to black out their faces anyway, because they didn't ask for that. He didn't ask for it. But that was just essentially the story of the whole saga is people felt victimized. They had a legitimate grievance. But because of the amount of the defenses that he was getting and the love that he was getting in the midst of all this, they didn't feel like pushing it. When I called the woman who owned a local business, who he wrote about stealing her identity, having sex with her husband and killing her, using her name, the name of real people, the name of her business, all of that. I have only one time have I ever heard a woman that distraught. And it was the mother of of a young man that I knew who died in a murder suicide. The wailing of like grief and sadness.
Yeah.
It was that level. It was to that level. And she felt so trapped because these are my friends.
Yeah.
And so when I think I said this in an interview with Brian, more than anyone, those are the people I have sympathy for because there's nothing they can do. If you speak out, then you are the recipient of the same hate that I was giving, but you're a legitimate victim.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy that this is who the national and international media decided to make you an example. You uncover the depravity, then they make you out to be the murderous, depraved one.
Yeah,
which is nonsense.
The Rock tweeted about this story. That's how
The Rock tweeted.
That's Dwayne Johnson. He tweeted, then deleted. It was something he said. I hate that people feel like they can't be themselves in this day, even in this day and age. And that was up for a couple hours, and then he took it down. I think probably because he found out the.
I think he got the actual details. Yeah. It's like, okay, final boss.
And that was the best part about the Esquire piece is it got community noted. It's like, hey, this doesn't mention the fact that he was writing erotic slasher fiction and sexualized pictures of children in his community on, like, and so again, nobody likes that this is how it concluded. Obviously, it almost goes without saying. But at the same time, there's no sense in sugarcoating what he did. And there's also no sense in pointing out the fact that his final act in life was a cowardly one meant to escape the consequences of his own actions.
So, and I don't want to dig too deep into it, but the circumstances of the suicide, as the police are trying to do a wellness check,
read into that what you will.
Yeah, we'll just leave that there.
Again, let the reader decide.
As soon as he started to see the lights flashing, everything kind of fell in on him after being very defiant and pushing back from the pulpit of all places initially. So, but I want to shift it back to like all the attention thrown on you, all the nasty stuff, because not many people have gone through this. And I don't wish it on anybody, really.
The last time I heard about this, someone turned it into a Ryan Gosling movie. I don't know I can't remember the name of it, but you know the one where he's the young Nazi.
Oh, I didn't. I was going to say Drive.
No, no, it's the movie. I'm sure you've seen clips. So he's he was a young Nazi leader. Blah blah blah. This New York Times reporter comes out with this big expose that shows that he's actually Jewish, and he ends up killing himself. Wow. That's the only time I've ever heard of this happening.
Okay, so there's a lot of takeaways, like especially people who have, say, big followings online. I'd imagine like Elon Musk, for instance, Joe Rogan. But one guy we both know and I think really like a lot is Michael Malice. And he's taught me a lot about this. Viral moments only happened to be once with the Montgomery Riverfront brawl.
Oh, yeah.
When Captain Jim called in, I was getting wasn't a lot of heat on me. I mean, there were some funny comments. I'm like, I can just tell by his hat. He's a racist, and he was raised a racist and all that stuff. I'm like, it's just an American flag hat. What the heck is... Look,
that's racist.
Yeah, like, but then you start to realize, oh, you see patterns, and that these people are not thinking. That it really is the NPC meme. That, and I'm sure you got this, to where it's like you hear the same exact, not just the same sentiment or the same idea or concept, the same exact phrases and words in the exact same order thrown your way, and you're like, this, and you just have to wonder, I'd imagine, are these people even real?
No, and that is difficult because you go through it and you're like, sometimes you can spot the bots and sometimes you can't. And so just the sheer quantity of hatred, you obviously don't read it all, but it is very difficult to decide what's what in that situation. And like I said, it was kind of the funny part of it was you could tell what countries were getting wind of this story based on the languages of the hate mail that I received. And funnily enough, the country, I don't know if it's a country, but at least the region that supported me the most was whatever region writes in Arabic, because I was sitting there having to Google translate a lot of emails, and I would say the vast majority of them were very supportive.
Craig's very popular in Gaza.
I'm very popular in Gaza. Alhamdulillah, you know.
God willing.
Inshallah.
Wow.
But no, there's the Germans, not a fan.
Oh yeah, because the Germans are all hooked into the whole international globalist order. No, and seriously, they were trying to use this, and they can do it with the Pulitzer or whatever. It works for people who are in the church and I don't mean like the Christian church. I mean whatever this weird secular church the cathedral runs. People that are just in that world, okay, they're going to believe and be like, oh, so terrible. But
it is terrible, but not for the reasons that they think.
Right. And so I watched it last night. I encourage folks to go check it out. It's just 1819 News podcast on YouTube, Rumble, all over the place. It's Brian Dawson's show. And first 30 minutes or so, I believe y'all really break it down.
They did really good job in post-production though, because with the internet problems, what you don't see is there's about a 10-second gap between when I stop talking and he starts. It was very uncomfortable in the moment, but the final piece came out.
It worked. Right. It worked out well. It's just it's how many years ago was that?
It would be November of 23. So going on 2 years.
It's crazy.
Wait. Like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Dude, it's funny when you hit 30. The years just blast through, the months just shoot by. So it feels like it was forever ago and yesterday at the same time.
Well, I'm glad you're on the other side of it. And it is a little annoying, to put it mildly, to see a Pulitzer given to for the wrong reasons.
It's a bit surreal because I mean, I'm not putting any restrictions on myself, but it's kind of odd to live through a moment and be like, this might be the most significant moment of my professional life. I'm watching it right now. Like this is what's going to follow me my entire career. Kind of like almost like a Monica Lewinsky situation. It's like, I did not have sex with that woman. That's, if you put, most people's lives can be like summarized into a sentence. Lincoln freed the slaves, Hitler killed the Jews,
right,
etc. I think most men of any virtue kind of tend to think, what's going to follow my name? Craig Monger X. And
I was a good father, or I was a good son.
Well, that's what you want, but it's like, man, is this for the rest of the world? Obviously my wife and my kids will remember me for much else, but it's like, is the world going to remember me only for this? It's kind of a surreal thing.
Yeah, one goat, and that's what you're remembered for your whole life.
Oh, Norm, he's always apropos for any situation.
It really is. The gravestone that comes to mind that I really do love is, and he is depraved, but he's like one of these nihilist, depraved guys from the 20th century, poet, writer, that has these gleams of insight and hope of living in the gutter, and that's Bukowski.
Oh, yeah.
And his gravestone, I think, is "Don't Try." And it's actually, I think, fantastic advice to a lot of folks, in the sense of, he means like really over the top going for it. Like, I'm going to be the next Hercules. I'm going to be the next Elon Musk. I'm going to be the next movie star, or pop star, or whatever. It's like, he's like, no.
Joe Rogan,
don't try.
Joe Rogan didn't become Joe Rogan by trying to be Joe Rogan.
No, he just was doing a podcast with his buddies. Yeah, exactly. He's a perfect example of the don't try. Like, he's incredibly disciplined. He's incredibly curious. He works his tail off. But the podcast isn't like him trying to push a certain message. It's why, by the way, folks still look at this. I don't know if you caught the Tim Dillon CNN interview. That was a work of art. It was so funny. Like, they still don't understand. They don't even begin to understand the new media environment.
Yeah, no, not even. No. Are you part of a new establishment? It's like, no. We tell wiener jokes and get on stage and tell more wiener jokes, and then we get behind a mic and we tell a few more wiener jokes. We're not the establishment.
Tim Dillon on his last episode literally wore like the Qatari formal wear, like the king or prince over there was wearing, with a stuffed white tiger next to him, and he's like, what is with this all talk of Qatari money coming in? It's just, these are comics. And they do things, number one, first and foremost, to be funny, but then they have perspective on the rest of the world. So,
well, they're not. The problem is, it's like Tim Dillon. It's hilarious that just simply not being a phony will make you look so supremely intelligent to the average person that people will want to trust you. And it's like, Tim Dillon's not solving any math equations anytime soon, nor could he probably. You saw it with Theo Vaughn recently when he had his whole. Whenever he started crying about Gaza, which I thought was very surreal and very heartwarming.
Yeah.
But it's like he's not a smart man. He's just not a fraud.
Right.
And so people are drawn to that.
Right. No, and authenticity is now the coin of the realm.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if you're your authentic self, people are still to be like, dude, that's weird. It's like that one thing where you're like, it's a habit you have, and you're like, yeah, everybody does this, right? And you say it to the world, and it's crickets. So, you got to have that somewhat dialed in. Completely naked to the world isn't always the right idea. But I think there are a lot of people that are willing to just be themselves, as you said, and they don't try again. They don't try to be a star. They more just work on a particular craft or trade. They get very good at it, and then respective for it down the road. It's guess what we should all strive for without trying, too much. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. I didn't prepare a lot. I'm ready for the 3-day weekend.
Me too.
Some of the headlines today. Trump pissed, recommends 50% tariff on Europe starting in 7 days. European stocks down 3% after that warning. Trump also threatens a 25% tariff against Apple, wanting Apple to make more and more actually in the United States of America. The Supreme Court upholds Trump's removal of Biden appointees on federal boards. Also, Harvard is supposedly, from Homeland Security, losing its authorization to enroll international students. Then right after that news broke, a federal judge slaps restraining order, blocks Kristi Noem's enforcement on Harvard. And Harvard, I saw actually Brylan Hollyhand, who's gotten quite a following himself, young kid. I guess he's going to Auburn now. He put this out. I first saw it. It's a screenshot from the internal campus chat saying we're going to blacklist Trump supporters on campus. So if you understand this world we live in at all, that isn't just Democrats bad, Republicans good, or vice versa or whatever, that isn't the kayfabe fake partisan game. You actually start to look into how does our government actually work? What is the true government? Harvard is at the center of that. They are a massive, unaccountable power center and have been for a long time. Now, they've gone through weird periods. Maybe they can reform themselves from the inside. Maybe truth will out. Truth will lead them in the right direction. But right now, when you look at what our top Ivy Leagues are doing, in particular Harvard, it is abysmal. And I think the Trump administration taking on this fight is a smart play. In the same way that some of you, maybe years ago, maybe even me, when I first saw it in 2015, 2016, when Trump said the media is the enemy of the people, oh, that seems over the top. Well, I don't feel that way anymore. Certainly not after COVID. If you're feeling going after Harvard and the Ivy League, that just seems over the top. Why are they being... Nope, there's a method to this madness. Trump is taking on the institutions that have actually been governing this country in the name of democracy for way too long. And it's one thing, they used to be pretty good at it. There were pretty good outcomes throughout a lot of the 20th century. They really were. But this marketplace of ideas got stale. Power somehow got mixed up in gumming up the works. And now you start to see more of this weird consensus building and credentialism and this cult of expertise that isn't actually competent. So good riddance to Harvard being taken on by the Trump administration. Also, I don't know, when I saw this, shifting gears here, OnlyFans founder may sell company for $8 billion.
Good God.
I was like, only $8 billion? But still, $8 billion. That company could be worth $8 billion.
What is the value in the? Isn't it just it's just a platform?
Yeah, it provide. Well, I guess you got the money processing on there. You've got
true.
It's a whole platform where you can provide that service in a fairly discreet way.
And I'm assuming they probably, again, I have zero experience with this. Believe that if you will. But I'm assuming they have to have their own payment processing system so they can keep it discreet. So it's Bob's Flower Shop instead of OnlyFans.
Well, so $8 billion though, man, that's a lot of money for a big porno site. Well, it's kind of like the Uber of porn. It's like the Airbnb of porn. To make it sense to the average bear, where before you used to have taxi cabs, now you got Uber. Before you used to have all the videotapes behind the curtain in the store or whatever. Now you've got people making their own stuff. And in some ways it's awful. In other ways, it did clean up the industry a little bit, where it was a few big companies that really were exploiting and taking advantage of people, more so than, just somebody using same way we can set up cameras in here. People set up cameras and kind of just do their own thing. I'm not saying that's what you should do. I ain't going to do that. But
the sheer amount of pornography online is
crazy.
Just so shocking.
It's crazy.
It's like a 13-year-old boy has more sexual access than Julius Caesar.
Right.
It's insanity. That's like, and they were just supposed to be like, oh, go ahead. You're fine.
Crap.
You can handle this.
After Nero dies, they have to look through his digital history and like, oh crap, Nero looked up a lot of horses. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. We got to hit a quick break here. Be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage.
And I'm Madeline Cannon. And we have some exciting news to share with you. We've been serving the state of Alabama for many, many years. And now we are able and ready to offer the same great mortgage financing in Georgia and Florida as well.
Our company may be Alabama Home Mortgage, but now we can finance your Georgia home mortgage and your Florida home mortgage too. We couldn't be more excited to extend our customer base to our neighboring states. For years, we have had customers call us in hopes we could assist them with purchasing their vacation cabin in North Georgia or their dream home in Florida. And now we can. For those of you who have family and friends that live in Florida and Georgia, be sure to tell them the good news.
Whether you are looking to purchase or refinance a home located in Alabama, Georgia, or Florida, you owe it to yourself to give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time.
It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ben. If your vehicle has seen better days, fear not. Help is on the way. Mr. Ben's Auto Spa Express has added a professional detail shop. Specialized techniques and products are used to get your vehicle back to showroom shape. Hand washing, waxing, stain removal, odor removal, shampooing, minor scratch removal, and more. Mr. Ben's Auto Spa Express, next to Fraser Church on the Atlanta Highway. Come by for a free estimate. Look like you've been to Mr. Ben's.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Earnest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Earnest, 334-279-7431. Earnest Financial, LLC.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a pretty nice forecast for today. High temperatures will be, warm in the upper 80s, but the humidity will be tolerable. And tonight's low temperature, I think, will be down into the low to mid 60s. Plenty of sunshine today and tonight, mostly clear. Then over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, expect a sun and cloud mix with a high temperature in the upper 80s Saturday and probably near 90 by Sunday and also Monday. We'll put in the mention of some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms in for Saturday and Sunday, but the rain probabilities are small. Showers and thunderstorms become likely on Memorial Day Monday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
ASE's 25 and 25 has you covered. For just $25 in closing costs, you can tap into your home's equity. No hidden fees, no headaches, just extra cash. Visit your local ASE Credit Union branch today. Federally insured by NCUA, NMLS 420259. Terms apply.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your goals, your ASE.
ASE, an equal housing lender.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And fellas, If you're feeling run down and tired all the live long day, just not feeling yourself, no drive, no energy, no sex drive to speak of, like your libido's completely shot, you're also not sleeping well, like you lay down your head for 8 hours at night, but you wake up exhausted, like you just aren't going through the sleep cycle that you need. Well, a lot of this could point, especially if it's all happening at the same time, all together, could point to low testosterone. And the providers there at Montgomery Men's Health will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And by the way, with all this cancer in the news, with Biden, with Scott Adams, you also get a PSA score, which is a great marker for prostate health. It can at least signal if something is off that you want to look into extra. So it's just an added service while you're also getting that testosterone score. And they have treatments there at Montgomery Men's Health that can truly change men's lives. In fact, they have treatments that'll make you feel better the very same day you find out. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym.
Brother.
That's right, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and usually even notice an increased libido. And you can actually book the same day that you call. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today. Let's go to Cameron. Hey, Cameron, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Enjoying your show.
Thank you, sir. What's up?
I appreciate the collective discussion you guys bring to the speaker for me.
Well, you were just telling me off air, but tell the folks out there listening. Yeah, I appreciate that, but why does it kind of hit you so well?
Oh, I can tell you exactly why it hits me. Well, I believe the human mind is focused on finding truth. And you guys are just, that's what you're doing, is simply looking for those who are interested in and presenting truth. And it resonates.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I would say that I think there are a lot of folks that think like truth is just this easy thing. And I'm like, no, I think I just wrote about it this week. It wasn't one of my more popular pieces, but I think most of what everybody's saying every day is not the truth and nothing but the truth, because we're all trying to figure it out. And so when you do see those folks where something just shines through, I would add to that, not just truth though, Cameron, I would add meaning, like chase meaning. And when something feels right or something makes you laugh in a certain way, something makes you cry in a good way, that's the sort of thing that you should pursue because, well, it's just your gut. Something inside's telling you.
Yes, sir. I believe it's instinctual. When somebody's raised right, I think it's instinctual. They can discern. But it's not an ignorant state of mind. Truth is discernible, but you got to seek it.
Yeah. In my Catholic upbringing, they would say a properly formed conscience.
Yeah. And it requires a level of discomfort. It requires a level of discomfort that most people aren't okay with.
Yeah.
Yes. And humility, if you don't mind my saying that.
Well, I am the most humble person on planet Earth.
You're not as humble as I am.
It's verified.
Okay. There you go.
Well,
a phrase I love is the best comedians are humble humans. I love that phrase. If you just stop and think about it.
Oh yeah, no, and I think there's something like the fool is leading us in a very good direction these days, especially the ones that don't take themselves too seriously, that have some humility built in. And it is crazy that a little cadre of comedians that aren't really trying, they're just having fun, are now able to make CNN and all these other major institutions go, are y'all the new establishment? How do we do what y'all are doing? And it's like, y'all are completely lost.
You're right. And don't forget, Joe Rogan is a comedian.
Right.
Deep down. You guys were talking about him earlier. And that's what was in my mind is, hey, he's a comedian.
Yeah. And I think it's comedians are the ones that are allowed to notice things that most people don't notice. That you go through your day and everything's kind of set in a certain way. And comedians are the ones that are focused on that odd thing that nobody's paying attention to. And when you bring it up, there's a truth behind it, back to your original point. And the truth tends to make people laugh, especially when when it sneaks up on them.
Well, it must have been a comedian that said the emperor has no clothes.
Yeah, maybe it was a young kid who was on his way to at least being a very successful storyteller. I appreciate the call, Kevin.
I like that. Yes, sir.
272-9228. And I just got to take the moment because I love reminding people of this, because they always talk about the emperor has no clothes. The kid calls it out. Everybody realizes it. They forget the next part, how the story ends. Like when the crowd turns on the emperor, what is the emperor and his courtiers, like the people around him, what do? They keep walking as though they have clothes on. So if you're frustrated, like I often get frustrated on this show, especially like CNN and Jake Tapper, I got a doozy of a clip with Caitlin Collins and RFK Jr. coming up. You're like, you get frustrated. You got to remember, they have no choice but to still act like we have clothes on, even though we're now naked to the world. And it's ugly. I mean, yeah, it's ugly.
Yeah,
really is. Let's go to Charles the first. Hey, Charles. How you
Charles.
Hey, Joey. Hey, Craig. I watched your interview with President Dawson there last night.
President Dawson, I think he likes that.
Yeah, he probably does. And I wanted to tell you something that I felt like was really important that hopefully you realize it. But here's what it's a tough subject matter, okay? But the whole thing is there are a lot of children harmed in church, youth pastors and things.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Up here in Florence, not far from me, 26 children, y'all, throughout the years. And then another one by a terrible person named Danny Wayne Cross. And what happened in that case was they really felt like the congregation had to know something was going on. And they took it to court, y'all. The congregation, the ones that they believe knew, had to go. Now, I don't know the end results of that. Maybe they tried to keep it silent, but Craig, you speaking up and having courage and continuing on, there may be no telling how many children you save by putting fear in someone that they're allowing this to happen. Do you get me there?
It's. I mean, you compliment me, and I appreciate that very much. It's a heavy weight to bear, but I appreciate it.
And Charles, you're right to that. It obviously being raised Roman Catholic, everybody knows about the Roman Catholic scandals, but we've learned, like with Paterno and Penn State, or the subway guy, or like you see so many. It's not crazy to think that child predators will go to spaces where they have access to kids.
Yeah.
And they can put on this rosy good face of being a moral person while they're doing awful things.
Teachers is a big thing. There's more teachers that get busted for having sex with children than
but
priests.
Lots of times it's the teachers, though. It's just the coach, and it's just one or two. It's not like it is necessarily when, because it's weekly that there's a case in Alabama of it just consistently. And here's what I was going to get at. If you went to put a Pizza Hut, and Pizza Hut doesn't qualify anymore, in a city that had a certain population in a certain area, you're always going to have the same business as you would another city that had that population. Are you following me?
Yes.
Now, if you think about that in terms of the Catholic Church and the Protestant churches did. Do you get me? Like, we did not go and delve into them like we did the Roman Catholic or Catholic Church to kind of get this out. Do you get me?
Yeah.
It.
And I think
about it.
And I think, well, first of all, I think that the focus on the Roman Catholic Church is unfair, specifically with, like
Correct.
I said, the teachers and everything. The difference between Protestantism and Roman Catholicism in this regard, and Joey touched on this before just now, it's the power structure of Protestants. They typically operate very independently, and there's a power structure of the Roman Catholic Church, and there was something in that power structure that was allowing this to go down. I think that's probably why it got so much, because the assumption is that it reached all the way to the Vatican.
Can you hear that your time's up?
What is that?
It's behind you. It's on the top right of it. Hit the button on the top right.
I'd like to make another analogy, if I could, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am all for removing the porn from the library, so let's not think that I'm not. I completely am. I'm not saying don't do that, okay?
Right.
But what I'm saying here is there is actual physical harm by the way that some of the Protestant churches are being run that allows this to be happening with your pastors, with your junior pastors, do you get me?
Oh, yes.
If we're going to go in there and say, let's organize the library so that they won't see visual things, should be, we need to be allowed to set certain criteria that keeps children safe in a church environment. Are you following me?
Of course, yeah. And
Actual
I think you,
physical abuse there.
I think you touched on something there without meaning to, and that is just the general attitude of parents and the level of silly, I would even say, trust that they have. Because like Joey touched on, these are, anytime you have a place where there is, connection to children, you are going to attract people that want to take advantage of that system. And like, for example, I read a story not too long ago, and it was about a sexual assault in a Protestant church. And it was a youth pastor. Well, first of all, the way churches handle their youth pastors is disgusting, mainly because they get like a 23-year-old kid straight out of seminary who shows up. They hire him in a church. He plays guitar. He probably has nice hair and is good looking. And these silly parents that will allow their children unfettered access to these youth pastors. And these are like 24-year-old men made of flesh and bone. And some 16, 17-year-old girl develops a crush on him. And there's no supervision. So the story that I read was a youth pastor who was allowed to take a 16-year-old girl home by himself after church, and then they had then they had sexual contact in the car. And while that's obviously vile on the part of the youth pastor, what in the hell were the parents thinking? That's just silly. It's not their fault, but that's just stupid. Right.
And here's what happens. Now remember, I'm Baptist myself.
Yeah, me too.
But here's what to think about, y'all. There can be people coming in there that's saying they're saved, and they are not. And you believe them, but you verify. You verify when it is your children. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right. And this should be something I think a lot of times it's afraid to be talked about, but it doesn't need to be. We need to be saying this so parents like the ones that you're talking about are aware and think and question and realize that they could be going to court someday if they had an inkling that some of the abuse, like that terrible person, if you research him, up here in Florence and at Highland Baptist at Muscle Shoals area. If you saw those cases and you think about that, and then you see the news stories all the time, you've got to do things that are going to protect your children in the churches. And I mean, and that can't be said enough and needs to be talked about. And by you doing what you did, Craig, you opened up a way, just like right now, to talk about it. Have you got me?
Yeah.
To bring to the masses the idea of doing something, to take action that wasn't taken before and that could save a lot of lives, and also allow more persons to not be discouraged by the churches. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, Charles, I'm running out of time here.
I appreciate it, you guys. Appreciate
it. 272-9228. It's awful. I mean, and I think it's so awful that a lot of people don't want to even think about it. They want to trust people. I think your advice of just due diligence is the wise choice. You don't necessarily want to accuse anybody of anything.
Well, just think about this. How common were sleepovers when you were a kid?
Yeah.
And when you think about it, that's not exactly safe.
Well, I mean, I went to plenty of sleepovers, but you better believe, especially with my mother, she was talking to the parent I was going to stay at their house very thoroughly.
Yeah.
And that's as a kid I hated it, especially as a teenager I hated it. It's on the right, not on the top.
Yeah, that really when this went off a second ago, I couldn't put two words together.
I don't know why that is in here. Anyway, this is part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and they're at Pest Pro. Ashley and that great team are ready to help you out with any and all of your pest control needs. They do now like a monthly subscription service. So they get on a regular schedule. You get to know them. That starts with that basic pest control plan. Then you could add on top of that termite inspection and protection, as well as mosquito protection. They'll be visiting you 8 times a year to make sure those mosquitoes don't bother you when you're trying to enjoy the backyard and the pool out back or the front porch. Enjoy your property. So y'all check out Pest Pro Services today. You can always learn more in detail at ppsriverregion.com or just search for them on the Book of Faces, very active Facebook page Pest Pro Services has, or just call them direct, 265-9990. That's 9990. When you want to know, call a pro, Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell Ashley and that fantastic team that Joey, that fell on the radio, sent you. Coming up, I'm not sure what we're going to do because it's Friday and I'm looking forward to a 3-day weekend. I even shared a Lord of the Rings meme on my X page where it was Saruman and Gandalf in the golf cart in between the shoots on set. It's like, yep, just already easing into the weekend. I'm ready for a good Memorial Day, be spending it mostly probably with my grandfather, just taking the day easy, of course, the day to remember those fallen. And if y'all have any stories, you're welcome to call in if there's somebody you would like to remember. 272-9228. Second hour coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. A federal judge has blocked a Trump administration decision to revoke Harvard University's ability to enroll international students. The temporary restraining order stops the government from pulling Harvard's certification in the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, which allows the school to sponsor international students as they obtain visas to study in the U.S. Unhappy that Apple intends to source nearly all of its U.S. iPhones from India, President Trump threatening a 25% tariff on the popular device unless the tech giant moves production to the United States. The Trump administration accusing Columbia University of violating the civil rights of Jewish students. The announcement did not include any new sanctions against Columbia. On Wall Street, the Dow dropping 118 points. The NASDAQ composite is down 99. This is SRN News.
Hey, everybody. Charlie Kirk here. As executive director of Turning Point USA, a national radio host, podcaster, husband, and father of two, my schedule is about as crazy as it can possibly get. 2 years ago, I made the decision to take control of my health, and I chose PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition because I needed a plan that fit my hectic lifestyle. I travel a lot, and my schedule changes every week, so I need something simple. They customized a plan for my body and my schedule, and I quickly lost 30 pounds. Now I have the energy and focus to get through my busy day. PhD will help you too. They won't let you fail. Just give them a call, schedule your weight loss consultation, and see if their program is right for you. Call 855-696-2020. That's 855-696-2020. The first 11 callers who mention the word healthy will get 2 weeks added to their weight loss package. Call 855-696-2020 and mention the word healthy, or visit them at myphdweightloss.com. That is myphdweightloss.com. It worked for me, and it can work for you. Myphdweightloss.com.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a pretty nice forecast for today. High temperatures will be, warm in the upper 80s, but the humidity will be tolerable. And tonight's low temperature, I think, will be down into the low to mid 60s. Plenty of sunshine today and tonight, mostly clear. Then over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, expect a sun and cloud mix with a high temperature in the upper 80s Saturday and probably near 90 by Sunday and also Monday. We'll put in the mention of some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms in for Saturday and Sunday, but the rain probabilities are small. Showers and thunderstorms become likely on Memorial Day Monday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Hey, this is Jody Pangle with Peaches and Clean. Have you gone with luxury vinyl tile and luxury vinyl planking in your home? Peaches and Clean cleans luxury vinyl tile and planking. Give us a call. We'd love to come look at it and get you an estimate or quote for your cleaning. Check us out at peachesandclean.com.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. A man is dead following a police-involved shooting Thursday morning in Montgomery. The incident happened at Brookview Apartments off Upper Wetumpka Road, where police attempted to arrest a robbery suspect. 19-year-old Raymond Tellis allegedly pulled a firearm from his waistband, at which point an officer shot and killed him. Montgomery Public Schools has launched a parent survey as part of new Superintendent Dr. Zacchaeus Bird's 100-day plan. Bird's Vision, Visibility, and Voice initiative focuses on listening, learning, and leading the school system with transparency and trust. The survey is now open on the MPS website. All responses are confidential. A Memorial Day weekend tradition returns to the capital city tonight. The Montgomery Symphony Orchestra is holding its annual Jubilee Pops concert outside the Alabama Department of Archives and History. The free performance gets started at 7 p.m. tonight in downtown Montgomery. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Hey, this is Randy with Super Pawn Center on Burbank Drive. When we advertise with Blue Water Broadcasting, we get results. Spend your money where it counts. Blue Water Broadcasting.
Our advertisers are our biggest advocates. Call us to find out how radio can increase your bottom line. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
When you need a new door or window replaced, you want it done right. Someone who delivers expert craftsmanship every time. Experience is a must. Listen, Davis Door and Sash. They can show you new doors and windows that can help you lower your utility bills and boost energy efficiency. Davis Door and Sash, Alabama.com or call 334-288-6010. Davis Door and Sash, the perfect fit for your home.
The Tierce family has been your local Roto-Rooter service since 1964. Drain cleaning, plumbing repair, and those troublesome septic tanks, no problem. Technology has changed a bit in the last 54 years. Video inspections of lines to locate problems is available, as well as scheduling your appointment online. River Region residents have trusted Roto-Rooter for over half a century. You can too. Call today at 272-7130 or visit online at rotorooteralabama.com.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name. And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
We've all been fooled by the big box stores, especially when it comes to flooring. They'll get you in with the low prices up front, then hit you with the extra fees, sketchy installs, and surprise charges. But lucky for you, you can enjoy the low prices you want with all the amenities of a locally owned and trusted business during Prattville Carpet's summer sale. Choose tile, luxury vinyl plank, and carpet for your whole home for just $1.39 a square foot. No games, just value.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Call us today for your free measurement. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. Recently, I met with 3 different owners of homes who had the same problem. They wanted to sell their house quick and sell it as is for cash. All 3 people were approached by different investors that said they had cash for their home, signed contracts, only to find out they were not personally going to buy their homes, but to find a buyer willing to pay more than they offered and pocket the difference. It's called wholesaling. Offer a contract to buy a house at a certain price, up to price to other buyers, and pocket the difference. I urge you, don't fall for it. You want to sell your home quick, use a licensed professional realtor, as I have been for 48 years, keeping promises to get homes sold quick. For all the details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon, or as we call this show online, Joey Clark Live. If you ever want to catch a segment, maybe you caught the tail end of, or maybe you want to listen back to yourself, just go to Joey Clark Live on YouTube, like and subscribe, catch the old live streams there. And of course, you can always follow me on X at the Joey Clark, or just friend me on Facebook. But I don't know how I feel about Facebook these days. Still don't. Let's go to the phones and talk to Babs. Hey, Babs, how you doing?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. The first thing I want to say is I had the honor and pleasure of meeting Brian Dawson yesterday at the Republicans ladies meeting. And I really enjoy everything about him, his podcast, his support of y'all, his coming on there and talking. Phenomenal young man. I was very impressed.
Credible story.
Craig,
Incredible life story. Craig's
it is an incredible story.
Craig had to
are
step.
you his right-hand man?
Craig had to step out for a second. Actually,
Is he work? Does he work with Brian?
he's one of the reporters there, one of the original reporters there. Yes.
Well, I wanted him to know Brian bragged on him too yesterday, and it was just. I'm so glad that I decided to go, and I went strictly because I wanted to hear him. And the other thing that I wanted to tell you, and you know this as well as I do, this business of child abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse has been going on, for forever. Years ago, both of my boys are in their late 50s, and we had a scout master that we found out was abusing young boys,
Ooh.
So, but to me, now the biggest problems are parents are lazy or stupid. Like you said, or like y'all were talking about. The preachers, the youth pastors. I don't understand anymore. I really don't. It's just really frightening. So, but I have not called in a long time, and I'm getting a terrible feedback. I hope you're not.
No, we're not hearing feedback.
I love this show. I love this radio station, period. But Brian gave me a lot of hope yesterday.
Oh,
Maybe we could fix some of this crap.
He can give a rip-roaring good speech because it's often got a lot of vision. And Craig just got back in here saying that Brian was bragging on you. He met Barbara yesterday at that Republican women's group.
Oh, it's very kind of him.
Was awesome. I wish you'd have been there too. I'd like to have met you, but anyway.
It'll happen at some point, Babs, I promise.
Okay. Well, Joey, I love you. I love the shows. Greg, I appreciate all that you do too, because like I said, he really bragged on you yesterday. So, and I appreciate 1819 so much.
Oh, thank you so much, sweetheart. Love it.
Love you, Babs.
Thank you. Might be saving Alabama. So, y'all have a wonderful, blessed, and safe weekend, and thank you for all you do, gentlemen.
Appreciate it, Babs.
Appreciate it. Have a good one yourself, Babs.
Let's go to Dave. Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Hey, guys. Thank you. I'm doing well, trying to endure the heat outside working a little.
Yeah, it's a bit toasty, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's going to get worse, though.
Hey, aren't you a big bowl of sunshine?
I enjoy your show. And Joey, remind me who your helper is today. You guys with you?
My helper, Craig Monger.
Your friend. Whatever.
No, I like helper. That's fun. My
I'm
little
not sure how to
helper.
take that.
Now, the guy that was with you yesterday, you said you've known since kindergarten or something?
Oh, that was my good friend Jonathan Gary.
Okay. Well, anyway, I enjoy your show, and I wanted to take the opportunity to remember someone who lost their life in World War I. My dad's oldest brother. He was the oldest sibling of 8, and he was my Uncle Willie. I never met him. He went to war when he was about 18, 19. He was involved just after D-Day. He carried a Browning automatic rifle. He was wounded by mortar fire in France, and on the medical airplane home, they think it was shot down by a German submarine. So, excuse me, I'm getting a little emotional. But one thing my dad said, his mother's hair turned gray overnight when she lost her oldest son. And I later inherited a coat that had been his. It was a long winter coat that was wool, very heavy and warm and in very good condition. I wore it for years. But every time I wore it, it made me think of him. And I think it inspired me to want to live a life where I serve others and do what's right. I just felt like it made me want to live up to my Uncle Willie's memory and what he had done to lay down his life for our country. So thanks for letting me share that. I appreciate it.
Beautifully stated.
Yeah.
Beautifully said, Dave. And I appreciate you sharing it. Thank you, sir.
You guys have a good day.
You too. Yeah, and especially those, not everybody's going to be remembered by the nation, but so much of family will remember And that war, World War One, that's the reason Americans didn't want to get back into World War II. It took Pearl Harbor. Because you talk about 18-year-olds, younger often. What's the movie that captured that pretty well? Legends of the Fall or something like that, where it's Anthony Hopkins, Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Worst movie ever. By the
You
way.
don't like that movie?
It's all right.
What about A River Runs Through It?
I didn't mind A River Runs Through It.
Eddie said he hated that one.
It was my
is
problem with
slow.
Legends of the Fall. It's like it's a story of objectively the worst woman that has ever lived. And Brad Pitt's no Jim in that movie either. He's
Right.
kind of a scumbag. And
Yeah.
this is like some massive love story.
But I always think of that movie, I think of Anthony Hopkins' role.
Oh, yeah.
Having been a veteran of World War or of the wars.
Yeah.
And it just was like, okay, I'm not sending my sons to this.
When those politicians came into it and he just ripped into them, it was brilliantly done.
Yeah, and it's awful. I love seeing that there are more and more veterans from the recent wars. These are the biggest donors to the peace movements. These are the biggest donors to, at the time it was Ron Paul, then it became Trump in a lot of ways. There's some of the biggest backers. Maybe we can get it here in Alabama of Defend the Guard. Have you heard about this?
Mm-mm.
It's where the governor of a state, it would be illegal for a governor of the state, if you pass this law at the state level, to release the National Guard to go to a foreign war if the Congress has not actually declared war, like the Constitution says. So you can't use state National Guards unless you actually declare war. There are some states working on it. I think it's a great way to get the federal government back to actually following the Constitution when it comes to declaring wars and fighting them. But good luck getting traction. We could try here in Alabama, maybe next session. But when you think about all the different interests in the state, good luck getting that passed here.
I think that that's the way that it should go, is where states are in control of their own military and they can be called up or they can vote to participate in any, say, joint action that's needed.
Right.
So that way, independent states can choose for themselves whether or not to get involved in conflicts. And hopefully that would lead to a little bit more rationale and reasonableness in our foreign policy.
Now, before I forget, this part of the program brought to you by Invista Advisors. I think Austin is very busy today, or maybe he's taking the weekend off early. I don't know. Usually he's pretty busy, especially with all these tariff announcements and all the shifting going on in the markets as Trump continues to wield his big stick making deals. And, you know, in economic times, it seemed a little uncertain. You want to go with folks that you can trust that can build a unique, bespoke plan for you that preserves your long-term wealth. It actually doesn't have to be like you're, sitting there and you got hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, if you are, good for you. And thank you for listening to the program. But anybody in life, if you're trying to plan out your financial future, you need a team like you get there with Austin Baranko and the whole team at Invista Advisors. And it's not just, say, the investment side of things, like how's the stock portfolio, what are your allocations. It's more sitting down, getting to know you, where you are in life. Do you need things like life insurance? Do you need to prepare a will? How are you going to manage that estate? Given, as you're passing on, maybe you're a small business owner and most of your wealth, which is sizable, is wrapped up in the business, though. And you're not going to do that for the rest of your life. At some point, how do you take advantage of that wealth? How do you offload that business or maybe pass it on to a family member? Invista Advisors can help you with all sorts of things across the board. Again, it's uniquely designed for you. They get a plan to preserve your long-term wealth. Call them up today. Start the conversation at 387-0094. That's 387-0094. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
This is Crawdad.
Hey, Crawdad.
What you just said, my friend, if you don't have anybody personally to leave your hardworking money to do something good, there's always Children's Hospital. You can bequeath that to all those kids. If that's what you need to do, that's
Absolutely.
what you need. Anyway, on a happier note, you struck a note concerning the war, World War II, and people might bring it up, like the gentleman a moment ago. God bless him. I know exactly where he's coming from.
Yeah,
and it's nice to have all those good memories of someone who left things to make everybody else's life better. Now, can I tell you about movies that might strike a nerve? No. Yes. Midway. That's one. Midway. And the other one that comes to mind right off the top of my head, I wanted to tell you, Hell in the Pacific, with Toshiro Mifune and Lee Marvin. That's a good one if you've never seen it. That's kind of a unique one all to itself.
Yeah. My grandfather, being a veteran of Vietnam, he has got a rule where he doesn't watch war movies. I got him where he watched Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards, but he's really not interested in the classic war movies. So I'll have to watch these on my own, I suppose.
Exactly.
Hell in the Pacific, isn't that the one where it's like just the two guys who are...
Correct.
Yeah, okay, all right.
No dialogue. Yeah, it's a very good one, actually. So, anyway, I knew that young man Joey probably had never seen that, right, Joey Man?
Yeah, I have not.
I saw it on TV ages ago, and I was intoxicated, so I remember nothing about it other than the fact that there's only two characters in the entire movie.
It's a good one. It really is a good one. So, you gentlemen, thank you for your show, and keep it up. We got a lot of people that are going to be feeling some pain today, and for bringing up. So let's hang in there.
Well, appreciate it, Crawdad.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Now, J.D. Vance just gave a commencement speech. I believe it was at the United States Naval Academy. And
is he losing weight? Have the means gotten to him, you think?
I don't know. He isn't as chubby-faced.
Yeah.
You're right.
He's less gaunt.
Well, and the beard plays. Like,
The
I
beard
mean
plays.
it. If Ted Cruz had a beard in 2016, he might have gone a lot further and actually challenged Trump.
The problem with Ted Cruz is he's just so imminent. I have the same gene to just where people don't want to like you. Like just something about your presence, your face, your bone structure, whatever. People just don't want to like him. But yeah, the beard definitely plays with Teddy.
Well, and then you go look at old photos of Vance, and you're like, when he was really chubby faced and no facial hair at all, and like I remember seeing him on the think tank circuit. Yeah, he talk about a glow up. Anyway, here's Vance at the United States Naval Academy.
Last week, the president took a very historic trip to the Middle East, meeting with heads of state in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates.
Now, I don't know if I can actually listen to that. That is terrible audio. How about this? I'll just read the quote. He said, "We had a long experiment in our foreign policy that traded national defense in the maintenance of our alliances for nation building and meddling in foreign countries' affairs. What we're seeing from President Trump is a generational shift in policy." Amen. Trump, a couple times already a few months into this, that one day where he said, I want peace with Russia so that we can get a deal on the nukes, bring China in, and we can reduce the military budgets across the world. Then you add to that Vance's speech to the Europeans. Then you add to that Trump's speech recently in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, where he calls out the neocons by name, the nation builders, the interventionists, or I think at the time he calls them the interventionalists. Oh, is Trump slipping? We'll get more to that. That's the whole reason, by the way, Jake Tapper is bringing up the Biden stuff, the Biden mental decline.
Yeah.
It's to be used as a tool against Trump. Like, they always have an ulterior motive. And they're also trying to wash their hands of doing the cover up themselves.
Yeah, watching the shilling for the book from Tapper. It's like, isn't that great that you're finally telling the truth years later? Or I didn't even know what's in the book or what he's going to say. But
well, and thank God we have J.D. Vance. And I think if Trump really does start to slip, then he should be a man about it and kind of let somebody else take over. But this is kind of Tapper saying the quiet part out loud. I have refused to play much of what he has been doing on his book tour, but let's listen into this at least.
There needs to be transparency by leaders when it comes to their health. And I would argue that some of the skepticism we've heard from Democrats, Republicans, and doctors, I have no idea what's true, what's not true. All I can say is like that lack of confidence in the transparency that's being offered didn't come out of nowhere. And three, like this, or C, I'm really bad at that. And C, This applies to Donald Trump too, and every future president. Donald Trump has released like nothing about his health.
Right.
And while there aren't the questions of acuity, there are certainly questions about his health.
Yeah.
And we can't have this as a country. We have such a powerful executive branch, and at this stage, such an unco-equal legislative branch, and such weak political parties. We're really racing towards a very dangerous situation. What if there had been that 2 a.m. phone call for Joe Biden?
Number one, Jake Tapper, we don't have a very powerful executive branch in the sense that we have very powerful executives like presidents. We have a very powerful executive branch that's independent from whoever we frickin' elect. And they have this quasi power with a lot of the legislature who, again, no matter who you elect, they got to go through the whole seniority system and the committee system. And it's again, what we have is barely a democracy. And yet that word is used to cover all manner of sins. I mean, have you watched much of this book tour?
Just people making fun of it. So a little bit, because it is just, it's just so mind-numbingly stupid that these people think that we forgot that they are the exact ones that covered for Biden's mental decline. And now you're coming out talking about Biden's mental decline only so you can see, well, we made this mistake with Biden, but we don't need to make it with Trump.
It's so self-serving. And it's the point we made last hour about the emperor has no clothes. Everybody realizes he's naked, but he's still got to keep walking around butt naked to the world like he's got clothes. I didn't do it. I'm not naked. What are you talking about? I didn't help with the cover-up. What are you talking about? We didn't tell people day after day after day, you must listen to the experts or people will die, especially during the COVID regime. Well, here's RFK Jr. with Prattville's own. She works for CNN, Caitlin Collins. And just listen to this exchange. It's shameless, but let's listen.
Was to trust the science and what studies were finding and what
during COVID, that was a bad message. It was trust the experts. That's what you kept telling us. Trust the experts.
I don't know that I ever said that.
Oh,
I mean, we talked to the officials. Actually,
your
during
network
COVID,
was saying it every day.
We took the briefings live every day with all of the experts that President
The
Trump.
experts,
Those were
but you
President
weren't
Trump's
looking at the
doctors,
science.
but those were the people President Trump brought out to the briefings.
Oh, President Trump brought, and I can.
He
if
brought
you
Dr.
want to go
Fauci
chapter
and
and
Dr.
verse, I can
Birx.
tell you what President Trump did right and what President Biden did wrong. What I'm saying to you,
But I want to get back to what your comment was about that. You said that people should not take your medical advice.
yeah,
Is
people
that's
should
your
not be-
position?
Yeah, absolutely. People should not be taking medical advice. I'm somebody who is not a physician, but they should also be skeptical about any medical advice. They need to do their own research. You're a mom. If you're a mom, you do your own research on your baby carriage, on your baby bottles, on your baby formula.
But they don't have medical degrees, obviously. If you're a mom and you're looking at what science has been tested, they trust their doctors and their pediatricians.
One of the responsibilities of living in a democracy where physicians and every sort of expert are subject to all kinds of biases. One of the responsibilities of living in a democracy is to do your own research and to make up your own mind.
So that's your message to moms or to anyone is to do your own research.
I would say be skeptical of authority. My father told me that when I was a young kid. People in authority lie. And we've seen a lot of that in our country. And people in the media lie. And people need to make their own judgments and be skeptical and maintain their capacity for critical thinking. And that was shut down during COVID. And the media was complicit in that.
Disagree on that last part, Secretary.
Of course you do, you vapid imbecile. Shut up. Ugh, God.
It's just, yeah.
The fact that she is not selling Marlboro Reds at the Murphys and instead is in it's really just a shame to the profession. She's an absolute dunderhead, and the fact that she's the pride of Prattville says a lot about Prattville.
Well, I guess, you can get pretty far being shameless.
Yeah, speaking of shameless, I know what you did at the clock tower. What?
Oh.
Huh? No, I'm not saying not her. That was a spontaneous.
No, I thought
spontaneous utterance.
I'm like, did Craig steal my diary? Got me all nervous over here.
Man, it's amazing though that I don't know if you've ever Have you been to the clock tower recently?
No.
Oh, since I was a kid, they have really shut that thing down.
I don't think I even know this because I'm a Montgomery guy.
Oh yeah, well, just the clock tower in Prattville by that shopping center with the Lowe's and the Books A Million and stuff it was kind of a big hangout for a lot of teens back in the day. You go up there, drink some beers, hang out,
sure,
fool around with your significant other. And you know, when I was a kid, you could easily get up there. Now they have it gated off because you know people ruin a good thing. They were like tagging it or whatever. Same thing with the mill, the Prattville Mill. And funnily enough, me and my friends are the reason why the security at the mill was so incredible. Because anytime they would put up some obstructions to keep us out, we would find a way to get in, including a camera one time that we didn't give a hoot about. But yeah, we used to break into the mill all the time.
Now, on the point about the trusting the experts thing, like how is what RFK Jr. was saying to Caitlin Collins even controversial?
It shouldn't be. But this is the conflict that we're having in American politics. You have, and this is the thing with Harvard as well. They see themselves as untouchable because they're Harvard.
Yes.
Never mind the fact that like 80,000 one of your professors have been caught plagiarizing. The fact that you are essentially a money laundering operation for the rich and powerful. And like leaving all that aside, we have a power structure in this country that demands that the populace accept them at their word, regardless of what. And if you don't, we don't have to present evidence. We simply have to point to our credentials.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I've humiliated enough people with more credentials than I to give them any sort of serious thought. Yeah, sure. If you have some sort of degree in astrophysics, I can pretty much assume that you're brilliant. If you have like some administrative degree in communications or whatever, you do not have additional authority to talk on anything other than the knowledge that you've accumulated for yourself. Same thing with the fact this was so clear during COVID. They're like, social distance, put on a mask. Where's the evidence for this? Nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found.
Well, and the 6 feet apart was like some science fair thing.
No, they literally made it up. Like they found, I think they found like a paper, like a science fair paper, and they were just like, yeah, this is it. We'll make this the status quo of the United States government. Right. So what RFK is saying is fine. It happened with the Doug Murray, Dave Smith debate.
Oh, absolutely.
That was the clearest example of that. It's like, oh, you say you're an expert. That's something to be proved, not stated.
And the further away I got from that debate, I thought there's one moment where, I mean, there's a lot of moments you could say Douglas Murray crapped the bed, but it underlines this point we're making, or maybe makes a finer point of it. When he did the whole, you haven't been, he was actually about, I think, but nobody knows now. He could have made an interesting, detailed report about, have you actually been to the crossings? Here's what's actually happening at the crossings. Yada, 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 yada. Give the facts like an expert would.
Yeah.
Show off your expertise, Douglas. We want to see it. And instead, he just goes, oh, I have expertise, but you haven't been. So.
Tim Dillon's takedown of that was the best, which is just like nobody can take down anything the way that Tim Dillon can. But he was like, yeah, it's like, can I go? What's with the, are you just allowed to like go to wars? And he goes, am I allowed to just go, or do I need to be, tag along with the IDF? Because that's what Douglas was doing. He's getting this uber great treatment. He was allowed to take that very dramatic picture of him sitting in the seat where that Gaza guy died. It's just, first of all, it's just disgusting, bad taste. But yeah, you're essentially, it's like, I don't know, did you ever watch the interview with Seth Rogen and James Franco where they go to North Korea to interview Kim
Oh,
Jong-un?
yeah. Oh, the movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's
you're thinking about the
hilarious.
actual interview. But that was so funny because James Franco in the movie is this idiot who gets toured around North Korea by these officials, and he's like, look, we have grocery stores, we have fat kids, nobody's starving, and he starts to buy it. It's like, yeah, if you're tagging along with this government that is really trying to convince the Western world that they aren't committing a genocide, you think they're going to show you the most genocide-y looking things of their campaign? No. So sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent, but yeah, it's there's this appeal to expertise. It should be nuanced because we shouldn't completely discount expertise. I'm seeing this now with cancer, for instance.
Yes.
There is, I can't remember the name of that doctor who's going around bragging, saying, oh, I've had success stories treating cancer with ivermectin and some other thing. And it's like, okay, can you show me? Like
show the causal link. Yeah.
Show the causal link, and the people that challenge him on Twitter get blocked. And I think that's disgusting. So you have what you've created by you had this class of people that were supposed to be experts, supposed to be looking out for us. They played the whore with their positions of power. And now what happens is you have an entire population that doesn't know what to believe. And part of the human condition is credulity. So you have credulous people desperately looking for answers because the quote unquote expert class doesn't have them anymore. And they'll follow any jackass who sounds convincing. That's why Gary Brecka is convincing. That's why people were on the Liver King train. That's why people become flat earthers or Holocaust deniers.
Yes.
All of it because the people in power absolutely screwed the pooch.
Yeah, they've done a very crappy job. They've created a very fragile narrative that now can't be rebuilt. Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall and he's broken into a million pieces.
Yeah. Sorry, this is my first energy drink in like a month. Yeah. And so I feel it. I feel me.
Well, I've got some more. I'll bid on your level here in a second. This part of the program, in fact, the entire hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. They're ready to help you, whether you're looking to purchase a home, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. They can walk you through that process that might be foreign to you. Like, I don't know where to even begin. Well, you begin with pre-approval, and they'll walk with you every step of the way from pre-approval all the way to closing day. Of course, they can also help you with a great refinance deal. Say you're about to retire, or you've been in retirement a few years, you're on fixed income, you're not expecting to bring in more money, and you want to lower that monthly overhead. Well, if you have equity built up in your home, that's a great way to do it. Or it could be you want to get credit card debt off your back, or just reinvest in your family, your property. They can help you meet whatever goals you're trying to actually achieve. And if you're a veteran, they specialize in the latest with the VA home loan programs there at Alabama Home Mortgage and take it very seriously, helping veterans take advantage of these benefits that y'all earned through your service. So call them up today, 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Like Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 90.
Let's face it, what our customers say about our business is the most important advertising tool. Here at Adams Drugs, we love our customers. We're here with Al and Amy Steinecker, Adams Drugs customers. Amy, please tell us how easy it was to transfer your prescriptions to Adams Drugs in the big box store.
It was one of the easiest things I've ever done. I went into the pharmacy on Bond Road and spoke with the pharmacist and told him we had not been happy where we'd been and would love to transfer our prescriptions. And he said, I'll be happy to call them. And that was that. And now when I call, I just say I need to have a prescription filled. And it's just that simple.
Al, what has your customer service been like at Adams Drugs?
It's amazing. You walk in, you're not standing in a line. They speak to you, call you by name, and say, what do you need today, Al, or Mr. Steinecker? It's wonderful. It doesn't get any better.
Please come into any Adams Drugs location and let us earn your business. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest you. Adams Drugs is your independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdis. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama,
Trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit CrosbyElectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing.
Hey, this is Robbie Clark. Stay cool with a spring tune-up with Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. Don't wait. Schedule today. Give us a call at 334-277-2125. Alabama certification number 09098.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a pretty nice forecast for today. High temperatures will be, warm in the upper 80s, but the humidity will be tolerable. And tonight's low temperature, I think, will be down into the low to mid 60s. Plenty of sunshine today and tonight, mostly clear. Then over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, expect a sun and cloud mix with a high temperature in the upper 80s Saturday and probably near 90 by Sunday and also Monday. We'll put in the mention of some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms in for Saturday and Sunday, but the rain probabilities are small. Showers and thunderstorms become likely on Memorial Day Monday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
In May, it's time to save at Pizza Perfect. Get $3 off any large pizza. Pizza Perfect is known for its buffet, which includes pizza, as well as spaghetti, breadsticks, salad, dessert, and drink for only $13. The buffet is available Monday through Saturday for lunch and for dinner on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. This month, get $3 off any large pizza at Pizza Perfect on Coliseum Boulevard in Eastbrook. Available for carryout and delivery.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. So this one is a bit of a dirty topic, but I mentioned it in passing earlier. It looks like the OnlyFans' founder is reportedly in talks to sell off the porn empire. Maybe heading for new ownership soon. OnlyFans, the internet's kingdom of smut. I'm reading this from Gizmodo, which also sounds like a smutty website as well, just by the name. He's over there gizmodoing himself. OnlyFans, the internet's kingdom of smut, may be changing hands soon. Reuters reports that the porn platform's parent company, Phoenix International, is in talks to sell the business for some $8 billion to U.S. investors. The New York Post previously reported that Leonid Radovinsky, the billionaire owner of the site, was looking to quote-unquote cash out, but had not yet found a buyer. Reuters now identifies at least one potential buyer as the Forest Road Company, an investment firm based in Los Angeles that is, by the way, so, you know, they say a name is destiny often?
Yeah.
City of Angels? Really? That is like the worst named city ever. Maybe the irony is the point, but it's an investment firm based in Los Angeles that is reportedly leading an investor group that wants to acquire the porn platform. On its website, Forest Road describes itself as, quote, not your average investment firm, and says it embraces complexity and creativity to extract value where others see limitations. Okay. The site also, we got a whole diversified portfolio, volatile chemicals, factories that make miniature models of factories. We have porn sites and organ harvesting. Complexity and creativity, folks. I don't know all of that, and half of that was from Austin Powers if you weren't paying attention. The site also expresses an interest in media and entertainment and digital assets. Not much else is known about the talks. Citing sources familiar with the potential deal, Reuters writes that Phoenix is also talking to other interested parties. Gizmodo reached out to OnlyFans for more information. For those keeping score, OnlyFans was founded in 2016 and rose to prominence during the pandemic by helping horny web users satisfy their libidos whilst otherwise avoiding human contact. Since then, the business has only continued to grow. Other than a weird brief moment in 2021 when the company bizarrely claimed it would ban sexually explicit content. Remember that little phase?
What did that last for 5 minutes?
Yeah. It has served as a premier destination for dirty content and has helped reshape the porn industry through its gig worker model. Last year, the company reported that payments made through the platform had surged by 19% since 2023, topping some $6.6 billion. Daggum. It's a lot of revenue flowing through that place. Radovinsky purchased the company in 2019, and it has made an absolute killing since then. Bloomberg reported last year that the mogul had made $1 billion in 3 years through corporate dividends from the business. The company has also been the subject of considerable criticism as well as numerous legal complaints. Critics accuse the platform of being frequented by sex traffickers and claim that the site has also become a portal for child sexual abuse material. The company was also recently sued by 2 customers who were outraged to discover that they may not have been messaging with real models.
Duh.
That is the saddest lawsuit I've ever heard. Yeah, creators often outsource their customer communications to third-party firms, or at this point, AI bots.
Isn't that kind of like what Andrew Tate's whole thing was?
Yeah.
Was like having a stable, and then like I think he even bragged about like messaging dudes himself. It's like,
well, that sounds a little gay, man.
A little gay. But now there's AI that these women can like have these crazy subscribers that pay thousands of dollars to them thinking that they had this relationship and they're just talking to a bot.
No,
it's
and
so pathetic.
I really do believe in capitalism, free markets. You can sell all sorts of vices. You can buy all sorts of vices, but daggum, that's sex sells.
But that one's lying to people. That one's just gross.
Yeah, like, I wonder if they win that lawsuit saying, wait, I was talking to a robot. I was paying to talk to you.
Yeah, I think they should win. I think they should.
There might be something.
It's like you're paying an ungodly amount of money, and some of these people pay like, what was the story that we read not too long ago about the guy whose wife was like going through cancer treatments and he spent like several $100,000 on OnlyFans girls. It's nuts.
Absolutely crazy, and you can see how obviously people just you can think of the neckbeard guy lives in his mom's basement and doesn't do anything, but sometimes you'll be surprised. It's like really, dude. Your wife had cancer and that's what you decide to go do? You never know. Yeah, absolutely. Never know. You mentioned the word genocide earlier.
Yeah.
Biden era reports genocide expert confirmed Trump's human rights fears for South African farmers. And I took the time this week because we played the short clips when it was all breaking with the South African president there in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
With Trump. I watched the actual whole hour.
Yeah.
And once it got through the moment of Trump saying, roll in the TV, the conversation shifted where it was a little more serious. The situation wasn't, to me, even from his own aides talking the way the South African president first framed it. It's just crime. Then you actually listen to, he's like, well, talk to this coalition guy who's an Afrikaner who's running the agriculture. He's our agricultural secretary. And the way that guy was talking about it, then the head of the labor unions there in South Africa were talking about it. And then a couple golfers who had family members who were farmers. It's like, oh no, white farmers are definitely being targeted.
Oh yeah.
Constantly. But so are a lot of other people. And it seems like it's almost like a Soviet era. Like think of Russia before the Soviets, where it's the Mensheviks and the Bolsheviks. It's all the different parties vying. And the Bolsheviks were not a normal political party, just like how the Nazis were not a normal political party. Like, they weren't just voting and talking. They were brutal in the streets. They were willing to use violence and threaten violence publicly constantly. That's a party right now in South Africa. There's a heck of a following.
Yeah.
And so you heard essentially people pleading with President Trump and Elon directly, who was in the room, saying, we need your technology. Like, we need help on this. And, you know, the media freak out over this, I think, again, was all over narrative.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you say these oppressors, these colonizers are being oppressed? And it's like, well,
it's you know, race communism or just regular communism is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, it usually doesn't work out. And the folks that you could say maybe they're the most tragic, or it's like, well, yeah, you made your bed, lie in it, are the folks that were true believers. Like, they believe, even when, like, you have this example in the Soviet era, like, people are thrown into the gulag. It's like, I was always a good communist. I was always a good party member. And it's like, and the revolution is real and all this stuff. And it takes them a while to realize, oh, man, it was all a lie.
Yeah.
Complete, utter lie.
And I mean, you've seen it happen. It's amazing for, like, especially the lefties of the 20th century. To them, racial justice, as they saw it, was the most important thing.
Yeah.
Above the flourishing of the people, above the safety and security of the people. Look what happened to Rhodesia.
Mm-hmm.
It is a failed state now because the West specifically abandoned Rhodesia while they were being attacked by essentially the Chinese Communist Party, who was directly funding Robert Mugabe's rebellion. And now look what happened to it. Same with South Africa. I mean, Nelson Mandela, I hate to break it to you, was a legitimate terrorist. Like, he was, and a communist as well. And so South Africa, while apartheid was disgusting and wrong and definitely needed to be addressed,
well,
I'm not sure right now is preferable.
Well, that's why Mandela's in prison. That's the good of that story is he comes out of that and teaches people, you know, we can resolve this in other ways. And those, I don't know. I look at Montgomery. Obviously, being born and raised here, maybe I'm biased. I think, obviously, at the end of the day, the civil rights movement was a very unique story that did a lot of good. That didn't necessarily change everybody's minds, but it made folks sort of look at things and go, yeah, we don't like that. And in fact, the folks who organized the protests and the movements understood, we'll get this reaction in Birmingham. We'll get this reaction, yada, yada, yada. And we want to show the world what the reaction will be and usher in change. But what's fascinating is the revolution's never over. You can't just celebrate that win, have a common appeal to, say, Christian love. It's now got to be, nope, the work must continue, the revolution must continue, and it's gone into this strange, commie thing where we must redistribute the wealth and the privileges and all these things. That's how you end up, and I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, where you go from Dr. King and Rosa Parks and all the folks here in town that change not just this state, but this nation. That's the civil rights movement, as I understand it. And then in the 90s, it becomes gay rights. And then all of a sudden, you have Joe Biden, who's cancer-ridden and addle-minded, saying transgenderism and these transgender kids are like the civil rights issue of our time.
Yeah.
Right? It seems like it's mutated into a really weird form of, the revolution must continue. And, you can find folks, like we just mentioned, Douglas Murray and others, that kind of called it that when, for instance, the gay rights victories in the 90s, but then especially with Obergefell, a lot of folks were like, okay, cool, we succeeded. And all these organizations have millions, if not billions of dollars. You think they're just going to stop?
Yeah. I think Michael Malice made the best point about this. He goes, I would be more skeptical of the slippery slope argument if the slippery slopes that everyone was warning about us during the Obergefell hadn't happened.
Right.
Like every slippery slope that they warned about after Obergefell, we have slid down at lightning speed.
Right.
And with the civil rights movement, it's like, what you have with that, with Dr. King, who was, again, as a communist, you have a political ideology that likes to attach itself to ideas of human suffering so that they can advance their ideas under the guise of human justice. Now, the justice, the way that blacks were treated in this country was 100% unjust and needed to be resolved. But they're taking that same tactic now and applying it to things that people are like, that's a bridge too far.
Yeah.
Like the transing the kids, that's a bit too much.
Yes. Yeah, no, and it's almost like Christianity shattered into all these different groups. When I read like Dr. King's stuff, I think back to my senior year at Auburn reading the liberal Protestant Paul Tillich.
Yeah.
The one class that I loved at Auburn that I still pull from was they let me skip the introductory and let me jump right into just advanced political theory. And the way the teacher, Marie Jardine, set it up is the problem of nihilism. One professor there, not Murray, but another philosophy professor, described Nietzsche as kind of like this lamenting fireworks show of like, we've killed God. You better watch out what's next. How do we get back this vitality where people actually believe it? It's not just some old man in the sky. It's not just some abstract problem. It's not just the rules that we follow. It's like something that really animates people. And so that's this big fireworks show before the beginning of the 20th century. And since then, especially after the horrors of the wars, people have been trying to figure out, well, how do you answer this question of nihilism? So the first half of the class were secular answers. Second half of the class was theological answers. And pretty fascinating stuff. But when you see how fragmented Christianity is, it's like liberal Protestants are going to emphasize a certain aspect of the Christian thing that I think leaves out the justice that you also speak of. Sometimes there are hierarchical authoritative structures and rules that shouldn't be touched. And people that try to break those rules should probably be punished and pay consequences for it. Not everybody is a suffering servant who's innocent and done nothing wrong. Like, you do unjust things, it needs to be called out. But I think that is the problem. They're trying to find the next suffering servant and rally around it. And they've lost the plot. I mean, you look at a lot of these issues, including folks here in Montgomery. I think there are a lot of Democrats. I think there are a lot of black folks who look at a lot of the National Party and the Democratic stuff and go, what? Like, they're still going to vote. They're not going to vote for Trump, but they're still like, well, some young black men are voting for Trump. But a lot of folks are just like, that's not us. That's not our story that we know and why we cherish these ideas. And I've been calling for, whether it's the mayor in this city or somebody at the state level, be uniquely Alabama Democrats with your own story. Why are you genuflecting to this weird cult of the secular progressives? That's not the Montgomery Democrats I know.
No. It's like when you look at the legislature and these debates that they'll have about bills restricting whatever lefty cause du jour, they'll get up there and they'll start talking. It's like, man, you're not talking. Marilyn Lands is the worst one, and she's from Huntsville. It's like, you're not talking like any of the liberals, like the traditional liberals from this area that I know. Like you said, the Montgomery Democrats. A lot of them are squeamish about transing the kids. A lot of them are squeamish about following the leadership of the DNC because they seem to have lost their collective minds. But for some reason, I don't know. The state party's not. The state party is hilarious.
It's been a mess for a while.
Yeah,
they do have their own unique.
They need an identity. They need an identity crisis, and then they need to kind of reform out of that. Otherwise, they're going to continue just to be the.
I think it would make the state better. Like, if you Anthony Daniels kind of did it. Like, you pick populist economic issues, you are common sense on the cultural stuff, and like, you just go forward with that. I think it's a winning message in many ways.
I agree.
But anyway, we got to hit this quick break. Be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hey guys, this is Todd Clark with River Region Contracting, your premier roofing contractor in Central Alabama. So remember the name, River Region Contracting, for all your roofing needs. We're not affiliated with any other roofing company in the River Region. We've been in the roofing business since 2005. We don't have to buy our leads, and we don't have to knock on doors when the storms come around. We have thousands of satisfied customers throughout Central Alabama. So call us at 334-356-8635. That's 334-356-8635.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pestrucelli, General Sales Manager and co-owner of Blue Water Broadcasting. For over 21 years, Blue Water Broadcasting has been a proud part of the River region. We're not just a company, we're your neighbors. Our owners, air staff, account executives, and support team all live right here. We believe in this community, and we stand by our slogan, Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good to hear. What's the score there today at Cohen's?
It's 21-0.
Ooh.
We had a customer way down in the country at a church that we installed some cameras for, and they gave us a phone call and needed it done by this weekend because they're going to have a big shindig this weekend. But one of the cameras, the camera wasn't working on one of the televisions. So to me, it seemed like a simple problem, but we couldn't diagnose it over the phone. But Michael Jacks gets there, and someone has reconfigured the system, the Roku on that TV, so they could play video games. And when they got through playing video games, they didn't set it back up to watch the camera. So Michael Jackson's out there, and he resets it up and gets everything done. Everybody's happy, but there's so many little things, and of course they're little because Michael Jackson knew what to do. If Michael Jackson didn't know what to do, then it all becomes this huge tidal wave of issues.
There you go.
But having the right people, the right technicians, the right installers, really just it makes such a huge difference on the way the system's going to work and how much enjoyment the customer is going to receive.
Well, and folks, you got to get by there. Maybe this Memorial Day weekend, see some of the great sales and meet some of the great folks that you'll be working with there at Cohen's as you pick out those electronics, or maybe you're on the appliance side or you're looking for a new grill. They got it all there. Stop by 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. Open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. On Memorial Day, when will y'all be open though?
We're going to be open 9 to 5 on Memorial Day.
Okay.
So, the other big thing for us is that if you come in here shopping for an appliance or a television, we'll match any of the local advertised prices. So you're never going to pay more to do business here. And, we just want to take care of you and come in with some pictures and ask us some questions. Let us ask you some questions. Let us help you make the right choice.
Well, y'all get by there today, and be sure to tell them, hey, you heard Michael on the radio with that Joey fella, just Joey.
Joey running solo.
Well, Craig Monger's here, but Eddie ain't.
Okay. All right. Y'all have a great weekend. Be safe.
Appreciate it, Michael. We got to hit this top hour break. Be right back. Final hour coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. House Republicans are jubilant about muscling through President Trump's big, beautiful tax and immigration package. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said groups of senators have already been meeting to discuss the legislation. The New Orleans jail escape took place 1 week ago today. 5 of the fugitives remain on the loose as some 200 federal, state, and local officers are searching for them. President Trump is threatening a 50% tax on all imports from the European Union, as well as a 25% tariff on Apple products. That's unless iPhones are made in America. The threats were delivered over social media on Friday. On Wall Street, stocks remain lower. The Dow down 142 points. The Nasdaq losing 128. This is SRN News.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a pretty nice forecast for today. High temperatures will be, warm in the upper 80s, but the humidity will be tolerable. And tonight's low temperature, I think, will be down into the low to mid 60s. Plenty of sunshine today and tonight, mostly clear. Then over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, expect a sun and cloud mix with a high temperature in the upper 80s Saturday and probably near 90 by Sunday and also Monday. We'll put in the mention of some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms in for Saturday and Sunday, but the rain probabilities are small. Showers and thunderstorms become likely on Memorial Day Monday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Hey, this is Peaches and Clean, Powerful Carpet Cleaning. Do you have commercial property, offices, or rental units? Give us a call at Peaches and Clean. We can clean and restore your carpeting and bring them back to life. Give us a call at Peaches and Clean or peachesandclean.com.
There's no clean like Peaches and Clean.
1819 News with Andrea Tice.
For Andrea Tice, I'm Carl Brady. A 19-year-old robbery suspect was fatally shot Thursday by a State Bureau of Investigations agent. The Alabama law enforcement agency identified the slain man as Raymond Tellis Jr. of Montgomery. The incident began Thursday morning when police responded to reports of an armed robbery. Officials say initial reports indicated a person was shot and the suspect fled the scene in the victim's vehicle. An SBI agent who was assisting the Metro Area Crime Suppression Unit located the stolen vehicle and initiated a traffic stop. When the agent tried to make the arrest, Tellis resisted and pulled a gun. The agent then fired, killing Tellis. More Alabama news coming up after this.
I'm Amy Beth Shaver with Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and when I need the news and I need it fast, I turn to Andrea Tice and the Daily Detail. On my way in, it is the most convenient, best way for me to digest what's going on so that I can use it for our show. She tells you what's going on in Alabama that day first and fast. So listen to the Daily Detail with Andrea Tice. Don't miss out.
The Daily Detail is available wherever podcasts are found.
The Alabama Supreme Court ruling that temporarily stopped in vitro fertilization services last year has emerged as an issue in the race for State Attorney General. Former Associate Justice Jay Mitchell, who wrote the opinion, is expected to announce he will run for AG. Blount County DA Pamela Casey, who has already announced her candidacy, says it's a personal issue for her because without IVF, she would not be a mother. 3 men have been sentenced for their roles in a conspiracy to bribe a public official at Redstone Arsenal. U.S. District Court Judge Lyle C. Burke passed down sentences for Coogan Preston, Francisco Guerrera, and Jason Ingram in the conspiracy.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The worldwide phenomenon is back. Fox Monday.
Will Arnett hosts a blockbuster new episode of Lego Masters.
Who's ready for a twist? Yeah! No! We're closing the brick pit. Holy smokes!
Followed by a new America's Most Wanted.
Monday on Fox 20.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's cleaning service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Final hour here before the 3-day weekend. I'm yours, Joey Clark. Craig Monger in the studio with me today.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe we have on the line here Dr. Stuart Tankersley. Hey, Doc.
Hey, Doctor.
Hey, guys. Good talking to you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And, hey, Craig, that was a great interview with Brian you had the other day.
Oh,
and
thank you so much.
for doing what you did back a year or two ago and exposing the truth. And sorry that happened to the guy, but y'all did the right thing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
What's on your mind, Doc? I'm assuming a lot, considering what's been going on in Congress.
I don't know what's the best news: the removal of the COVID shot for those under 65, or RFK is calling out Patty Murphy, the Senate senator who he accused of the last 32 years of failing at her job with chronic diseases. I thought that was very good. Or Jay Bhattacharya telling the people at NIH, he's the NIH director, that they had been a part of the scamdemic and in creating the virus. I thought that was a major thing. And then, of course, Jordan Vaughn and Peter McCullough and Jim Thorpe appearing before the Senate investigation on the corruption of healthcare.
Now,
big week.
There's so much going on, so much to hit on, but I kind of want to introduce one other thing. Because there haven't, to your point you've made to me many times, there hasn't been a reckoning with the, say, health authorities here in the state of Alabama. And my inkling is, I could raise hell on these airwaves. I think all three of us in this conversation right now have written things for 1819 News that have gone viral, not quite as viral as Craig, but, we all can write stuff that's popular, get some eyeballs and ears and minds on this. But I think it's going to require new leadership. What is your sense, just sitting here right now, of Tommy Tuberville? Do you think he might hear you and others out about needing to change up things here in the state, especially with our health authorities?
Well, I think that things couldn't be worse. They have done such a Scott Harris, he's the state health officer, has done such a horrible job the last 5 years in particular. He's revealed who the public health apparatus is. They serve a higher power than that of the public's health, clearly. And with the new law that's going to come into effect, I think next year, Tuberville will be able to appoint a new state health officer. And of course, they've got to get approval of the people on the list from the medical association, hospital association, or whatever. But it couldn't. I find it hard to believe it could be much worse. And tagging on to that, I think that the testimony by this week in that hearing led by Senator he's the chairman of the committee, Ron Johnson. I think that with the evidence that a minimum of 15 to 20 million Americans have been injured by these shots that have been imposed on us and compelled by us despite any informed consent, we might need to add to the Memorial Day holiday. We need to honor those who felt like they were doing their job, doing their duty, public duty, and got the shots to their own detriment, of course.
Absolutely. Now, we've mentioned this frequently. It always bears repeating, though. A great resource if you still have not, say, treat yourself for long COVID or just long-term effects. And it doesn't have to be anything dramatic, like a turbo cancer, God forbid, like really big heart problems or strokes. It could just be you haven't felt well for a while.
Right.
It's the FLCCC is still a great website to go to look at those resources.
I think it's FLCCC.net. If you go to it, you can still get it, but they changed the name at the beginning of the year to Independent Medical Alliance, IMAHealth.com maybe. But that's a good resource because these shots are still producing, as designed by the messenger RNA shots. Your body is now the production factory for a horrible toxin, and that's what they spoke about directly in that 3-hour hearing 2 days ago. And I just was so proud of the people, the 4 guys that were telling the truth, and then unfortunately the governor of Hawaii, who spearheaded the COVID effort out there, bragging about himself. I think there were 2 pretty funny things that if you were watching it closely and read between the lines. Number one was the Senator Johnson repeatedly encouraged all of the 5 witnesses, and mainly he was obviously directing it at the governor of Hawaii, to please give us your studies validating your statements, because like the others repeatedly referenced article after article after article, and I think Peter McCullough told me that he had 4 pages of citations added to his introductory remarks. But the evidence is overwhelming how deadly and dangerous these shots are. And your body now is a known production factory for a known toxin, so you really need to strongly consider evaluating how to go about getting rid of this thing. And one of the main things that is very important for that, it's the top thing on the list on the FLCCC website, is intermittent fasting, and there are very interesting reasons why. But there are several other agents you can use to help get rid of this horrible toxin that's causing so many injuries and cancers and things like that we've known about for years now.
Sorry to butt in, but is it with the clearing out of the mRNA? Is it like a process that your body goes through, like autophagy, or is there some other process that people need to engage in order to clear it out?
Well, sure. And the short answer to that is yes, you need the autophagy so your body can get rid of the cells that are the production factories throughout your body. Every organ system potentially is a production factory for these. And the first on the list is the intermittent fasting, which is very good for that. But you also need to consider taking agents that will help break down these awful clots that are unlike anything they've seen before. And now the vast majority of coroners, or not coroners, but people that do the embalming are seeing in these people that are dying. And one thing that, tagging onto that was mentioned in the hearing, and I know this personally to be the case, that they wouldn't do autopsies during all of this because they couldn't allow the truth to be known. It was just, public health failed at every level, and they made that clear, abundantly clear throughout the hearing. And so we just need, like RFK Jr. is trying to do, we've got to have a complete reset on what health looks like. And I'm very, very excited that Jay Bhattacharya at NIH and McCary at FDA and RFK Jr. are going to be spearheading the effort. And thankfully, Trump is right behind, is very supportive of all these efforts.
Yeah, it's great to see that whole panel and whole team they put together, and it seems like we're on the right track. I just and not just Johnson's committee. I'm thinking of that big Maha report they came out with, where seems there really is agreement. Okay, this is a problem. Now let's push it forward. And you know, the naked emperor with no clothes is going to still walk around like he still has clothes. So I don't expect much from the media or all the folks that got this wrong to really atone in any way. But if we get more of those folks who admit, yeah, we were wrong, they can help be part of the solution, I think.
Yeah, and over 80%, a couple of months ago, a poll showed that over 80% of Americans agree with Robert Kennedy Jr.'s MAHA efforts. And more importantly than that, maybe, is that less than 0.1% of adults in America are up to date on their COVID shots, meaning there's no confidence in the things to begin with. And so that's very important. And I want to get to that very important point you just brought up after this. The second interesting thing that I forgot to mention about the hearing was Governor Green out of Hawaii. He played the victim card. How dare y'all have just me, the sole guy out here promoting our angle when you got 4 experts, world-renowned experts, addressing y'all's side of the issue. Well, that's pretty funny in itself. I would expect these people to go to the victimhood status as quick as they could. But Steve Kirsch is this billionaire guy who invented the mouse for your computer without a wireless mouse.
Mm-hmm.
And he has put forward over the last 4 years 17 separate $1 million offers to anybody in the world, expert in the world, that's willing to have a 3-hour debate about whatever of those subjects it is. And so there's plenty of opportunity for these people to come forward and explain how they were right and we are wrong. But nobody takes him up on, and they don't have to win the debate. They just have to appear for $1 million for 3 hours and debate it. And so to the point, the sad current Governor Dr. Green, the governor of Hawaii, it doesn't matter who you bring. The truth, if you brought one of those 4 guys up there against 5 of them, we'd still win because the evidence is overwhelmingly clear that we're right and they've been wrong. But sorry to jump to the next point, which is the most important that you bring up. Repentance is beautiful. And we often in our sinful nature want to think of repentance as this awful thing we have to go through. It is a beautiful thing. And Satan is the accuser, the devil, the tempter. And then Satan comes along and accuses us of our sin. And that's the trap, I think, that most people are in. They don't understand the need for repentance. That's a beautiful thing. And it honors the Lord. And if we get to that point in our culture of understanding that and doing it, oh man, sky's the limit. It's very exciting.
Indeed it is. And, and also, I think trust being regained is going to be crucial going forward. I guess the last question I have for you, all this promise of AI, where they're essentially talking about bespoke or customized treatments for people, that AI is going to speed stuff up. I'd already seen some stuff that AI does seem to make sense, but I'd imagine after everybody went through what they went through with the mRNA vaccines in particular, or just the shots, the jabs, that they're going to try to wheel out some new thing that AI came up with, and folks are going to be like, no, thank you.
They're already doing it. Yeah. They're already skewing the results you get when you go to AI. Joe Rogan recently was on with Dr. Humphreys, and they used AI to say something. Look at one of the vaccines that we historically have used, and it gave bogus answers. But the more people use it and the truth is revealed, they're not going to be able to suppress it and hide it as much as what my hope is with AI.
Yeah, well, we shall see. That's opened up a whole different world. I mean, we also been covering like the Neuralink stuff. Did you see the video? The guy with ALS who was nonverbal can now, his quality of life has increased. So it's just so many new technologies being brought to bear that you got to wonder. Some of this is really amazing, but then the evil of it, the potential evil of it, is also very real.
Yeah, I agree with that. But fundamentally, get to the point, going back to what RFK is trying to implement, where he mentioned this in the cabinet meeting a couple of weeks ago, where we have over 10,000 chemicals added to our foods, and Europe only allows 400 of those. When we get rid of these toxins or these chemicals that potentiate problems, when we get rid of them being so ubiquitous throughout our diets and waters, the opportunities are going to be there. Mainly, I hope for and expect for our body to be able to heal itself in a way, in ways that we aren't aware of yet. But I think that this failure, the public health failure for 2 generations now, the opportunities are really encouraging now that we have somebody at the helm that wants to take an honest, hard look and try and help us. But I'm optimistic that we'll be able to do a lot of good things in the future and keep people off of medicines rather than trying working with them on medicines, because our health all around us will be better, I hope.
Yeah, it's the stuff that's coming out is insane with the especially with like the myostatin inhibitors that they're working on, and just the level of craziness that's going to come down the pipe as far as medicine is concerned in the next 20 years, I think is going to be pretty insane.
Yeah, if we don't allow the FDA to prevent anybody but the big pharma clowns from running the show.
Yep.
Yeah, the sky's the limit.
So look at what they've done. Look what the FDA has done to peptides, and those are some of the most promising, promising health outcomes that I've seen from just personal blood work that I've seen and done in myself. Especially, it's so funny because especially with the mitochondrial support that you're talking about that helps with clearing this out of the system. There's a huge number of peptides that really boost mitochondrial function. Methylene blue, everyone's talking about that. You have MOD-C, you have SLU-PP332, all sorts of stuff. And then the FDA comes in, and now they're trying to keep people from easy access to these things, which have so much promise.
Right. And to the point, kind of circling back to what I mentioned earlier, peptides are a natural thing that we produce every second of the day in our cells. Peptides are what amino acids make up peptides, and then peptides form the proteins in our body. And so you're giving the body the building blocks to restore the health that we naturally would have. And I think that's a perfect example. I don't know of a better one. It's and to that point, the Ozempic, the weight loss, people use them for diabetes, weight loss. One of them is now approved for sleep apnea. Those are peptides, and how they got around, the FDA allowed them to get around that is really bizarre, because the fundamental structure is a peptide, and how these companies got to patent a natural product is bizarre. Maybe they tweaked it one molecule so that they can do that, but peptides, that's exactly what Ozempic is.
That's a great point, Doctor. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, how were they able to trademark something like this? And again, the FDA's influence or into peptides, I think, is hugely motivated by the Ozempics and the Mounjaros and stuff like that, because they put so much money in promoting these drugs. And if you can just get them on the internet, which anyone can right now, through research chemical companies or whatever, now the FDA is really trying to crack down on those too. That's a great point. I don't know how they were able to get it patented under their prescription names. I need to look into that. That's bizarre.
Yeah, Mounjaro is 2 peptides, but it's just another clear example of the capture that they explained many times in many ways with good evidence throughout the testimony 2 days ago. We've just got to get away from this captured monopoly that pharma at large seems to have on our medical industrial complex.
Well, I appreciate the call.
By the way, on that, when Obamacare was being rammed through the Congress unilaterally, it was not a bipartisan thing. The biggest contributor of the parts of the medical industrial complex, the biggest financial contributor to it was pharma. So that tells you something there.
Goodness. Well, we didn't even plan this call. I just appreciate you calling in. Good conversation. Thank you, Doc.
Well, thank you for letting me do it.
Thanks, Doc.
Again, that's Dr. Stuart Tankersley. Always appreciate his time.
Yeah, he's right. Mounjaro, with the GLPs, I've just been so much on the research with these, and the most promising one is actually hasn't gotten full FDA approval yet. It's called retatrutide, but the Mounjaro, it is 2 peptides. It's you have the GLP-1, which is glucagon-like peptide 1, and then you have GIP, which is gastroinhibitory polypeptide. And then the new one it's essentially Mounjaro with added glucagon. And I've seen just people's blood work, the improvements is just insane. And that combined with all of the, like I said, the mitochondrial peptides that are out there now, you're really going to see.
That's what like methylene blue is.
Yeah. Well, I think it is technically a peptide, but that's RFK has talked exclusively about really pursuing these. So I would really like to see the FDA back off and more be done in seeing the effects of peptides, because they are really having a radical effect on people.
Seeing up there that apparently they've moved on to it. Fox News, of course, hates it, but there's a largest prisoner swap of the war between Ukraine and Russia. We'll see, but I don't know. I think the Russians are kind of running out the clock in that regard.
No, I mean they have nothing. They don't need to do anything else,
right? And we were talking about it off air. Others have mentioned it. Kim Jong-un watches as North Korea's newest warship falls on its side off its dry dock. Big ceremony. Everybody, is kind of forced to go there and play the role of loving the dear leader. And then all of a sudden, that's a huge failure. And you do have to wonder who's going to pay.
Someone is, and it's
Somebody's
not going to be pretty.
No, it's not going to be pretty at all. Hey, this part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting, and there at River Region Contracting, Todd Clark and his team are ready to help you with that roof of yours. You should get inspected on a regular basis. Why not do it annually, especially with the climate here in Alabama, the storms, those heavy storms that have been rolling through, in particular through the river region. And at River Region Contracting, the good news, if you're trying to get that annual inspection, is their inspections are always free, as are their estimates. If they do find an issue, they'll write up that estimate for free. And if you're worried about fighting with or just working with your insurance company, they're insurance specialists there at River Region Contracting. And they love to sit down with their customers, really get to know them. I explain, this is exactly the problem you have. Here's exactly how we're going to fix it. They will explain it until you are satisfied, and they get the job done well, swiftly, and at the cost they told you up front. That number for River Region Contracting, 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit AlabamaSheriffsYouthRanches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man. Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdis. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Home Free live in concert. Home Free and their 5 amazing voices captured the world as they mixed Nashville standards with country dip hop hits. All-vocal country band Home Free bring their tour to the MPAC in Montgomery on Saturday, June 7th. Home Free live, June 7th at Montgomery Performing Arts Center. Tickets are available now at Ticketmaster.com or mpaconline.org. For more information, visit homefreemusic.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Mallinson with Georgia Floors Direct, and I want to talk to you about Blue Water Broadcast and how they've helped my business spread the word. As every small business owner, I have to look at my advertising dollars carefully, and Blue Water Broadcast helps me get the most for every dollar I spend. I'm so glad to be a part of Blue Water Broadcasting and what they bring to Montgomery.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the river region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, where right now, get a load of this, listen close, you get a house full of carpet for $19.95 installed. Unbelievable. They're located at 6450 Atlanta Highway, just across from Walmart.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a pretty nice forecast for today. High temperatures will be, warm in the upper 80s, but the humidity will be tolerable. And tonight's low temperature, I think, will be down into the low to mid 60s. Plenty of sunshine today and tonight, mostly clear. Then over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, expect a sun and cloud mix with a high temperature in the upper 80s Saturday and probably near 90 by Sunday and also Monday. We'll put in the mention of some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms in for Saturday and Sunday, but the rain probabilities are small. Showers and thunderstorms become likely on Memorial Day Monday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
We're redesigning financial freedom at CB&S Bank. Make purchases at participating stores and restaurants using your CB&S Bank debit card through your mobile devices with Mobile Wallet. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for more information. Member FDIC.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. (272-9228) if you want to get in on the program. The announcement of Scott Adams, him, and you could see it happening, but him saying, I've got this pretty aggressive cancer. A lot of people have been playing his greatest hits. And so this is all I think way, way back. This was a Reason magazine thing, interview with Scott Adams. And he was like, here's why Trump is so persuasive. So I'm going to start and stop it and kind of let's watch this together. Have you ever seen this, Craig?
No.
He called this so freaking early. And he's going to explain how he called all this out.
Trump
is a set of skills that are so deep and so exquisite, it would be hard for me to imagine anybody beating him. And so I've predicted he'll go all the way and win the presidency.
This is 2015.
Wow. Hilarious.
I know.
Donald Trump has a way with words and people.
I will be phenomenal to the women. I have many Hispanics working for me, many Hispanics. We're rounding them up in a very humane way, in a very nice way, and they're going to be happy. Vote for me because we're going to make America great again.
But the media don't get him, and he doesn't appreciate it.
You know, some of the media is among the worst people I've ever met. And I mean, a pretty good percentage is really a terrible group of people.
Scott Adams, prolific author, blogger, and creator of Dilbert, thinks they're all getting trolled.
I'm saying I see a flamethrower. I think the flamethrower guy wins in the stick fight.
Though he doesn't support Trump or any other candidate, he believes that Trump is in fact a master wizard.
The idea of the master wizard hypothesis says that there are some people in the world, living people, who are masters of persuasion. They've got a linguistic gift for influencing people, and they're using actual technique. What I saw in Trump was someone who was highly trained, and that a lot of the things that the media were reporting as sort of random insults and bluster and just Trump being Trump looked to me like a lot of deep technique that I recognize from the fields of hypnosis and persuasion.
So that's how this, and again, he went on to later support Trump, but he called out, and we'll get to what exactly are those persuasive skills he noticed so long ago. But it's gotten to where it's not just, oh, he called this. Sure, you saw the news that Trump called him after the cancer.
After the cancer diagnosis.
And that is it's a certain touch to the guy. When you look that book that's currently on the screen, Art of the Deal, my biggest takeaway from it is how much that guy's on the frickin' phone and keeps in touch with all sorts of people and means it.
Yeah.
It's very unique.
He has a work ethic that almost beggars imagination.
Yeah.
Like especially because he's also like a decent golfer. Like, and he has a wife, and he has kids, and he has family, and he has business, and he's the president. It's like, what? You're 70 years old. Take a nap. Like, how do you keep? It's insane. Like, forget about his powers of rhetoric and his powers of persuasion that he's completely correct on. The man is a freaking machine.
Yeah.
That runs on Diet Coke and fast food. It really just boggles the mind.
He really does drink out so much Diet Coke and eat so much Mickey D's.
I can't judge the Diet Coke stuff because, especially at this phase on the diet, I'm pretty much drinking more of that than water. But yeah, the Mickey D's, I can only eat Mickey D's for like a day before I have to can I just get a salad for the love of God?
Now, before we go into the actual techniques that Scott Adams was able to spot all those years ago, this part of the program brought to you by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. And man, talk about good eating. They have a daily lunch meat and 3, which is like, it is a true Southern meat and 3. You're talking like you get a country fried steak with some fried okra, maybe some corn on the cob thrown in there too.
Oof.
Then don't forget the dessert, like the banana pudding, peach cobbler, blackberry cobbler. They also have pie and cake slices. And of course, you can dine in, take out, lunch, and dinner. And the barbecue is to die for. They're back to the original recipes that made Smokehouse Barbecue famous all those years ago. It really is a true institution here in the River region. Right now, I'm looking at the loaded barbecue baked potato, and my God, I could eat all of that.
Is it topped with barbecue?
Yes, it is topped with barbecue. And I
Bacon?
would slather bacon. Your choice of one of our smoked meats. So you could do like brisket. You could do pulled pork, cheese, butter, sour cream, scallions, and brisket is one of the ads you can do. Oh my God, that looks so good. Loaded mac and cheese as well, where you can pick some of the barbecue. And of course, you can just get the barbecue straight up. And don't forget about their amazing breakfast they do Tuesday through Sunday. Show up early, eat real good. Y'all get by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. You can always learn more by going to Smokehouse Pit Barbecue on Facebook, or just look them up online. That's smokehousepitbbq.com, or just stop by. Same location they've always been all these decades, Main Street in Millbrook. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. So going back, what are the techniques that Scott Adams spotted all those years ago?
So let me give you a few examples of the technique that Trump uses. There's something that I call the linguistic kill shot. And what that is a engineered set of words that essentially changes an argument or ends it so decisively. I call it a kill shot. So one of the ones that Donald Trump used was when he referred to Jeb Bush being a low energy guy.
Very, very low energy. So low energy that every time you watch him, you fall asleep.
Donald, you cannot take
more energy tonight. I like that.
Or when he referred to Carly Fiorina as a robot.
Like a robot. Ba, 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 like a robot.
Or Carson as nice.
Ben is a nice man. He's actually a really nice guy.
All of these have the same quality. They're words you haven't heard in the political realm before, so they're sort of virginal words that he can use the way he wants. They don't have a lot of baggage with them, but they also perfectly fit what you are already thinking about these people. They weren't random insults. And once you hear it, you can never get it out of your mind. That's how powerful it is. You notice that he insults people that come at him.
I'm telling you, anybody that would view it that way has to be a little bit of a deviant.
And he also compliments people quite effusively when they're nice, or at least they're not bothering him.
I think they like me in a certain way, which is nice. It's always nice to be liked.
So what he's done is he's created a fairly large gap between insulting Trump, where he'll take you down, or being nice to him, where he'll take you up.
It sounds like you're saying I have leverage over the Republican Party, so they better be nice to me.
Well, essentially, I want to be treated fairly. That's true. I do want to, not nice.
You go against him, you know there's a little bit more to lose. And an anchor is something big and visual and emotional that takes you off of whatever you were thinking before, just because it's a bigger thought. So, for example, when Trump was in his first debate.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals.
That was a terrible thing for him to answer with a direct answer, but he didn't do that.
Your Twitter account?
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Immediately you go to this big visual, everybody knows her. His base probably has a negative feeling about her. And all the headlines became about Rosie O'Donnell instead of, is Trump a sexist?
I blurted out the name Rosie O'Donnell and the place went crazy. And it really had a big impact on her questioning.
Kind of brilliant. He does the same thing with his idea for immigration and for the wall. The wall is this big, visual, magnificent thing in your head.
It will be a real wall. It'll be a wall that works. It'll actually be a wall that will look good. A big, beautiful, powerful wall. It can have a gate. It can have a door. It can have a tremendous, beautiful, wide open door. Nice, big door.
Even if you hate it, it's still big and visual, and it takes all the attention in that direction. And that's what he wants. One of the things that Trump does really well is he uses a type of linguistic judo. For example, there was one interviewer who said, you're kind of a whiner.
Rich Lowry says that you are the most fabulous whiner in the world. And
instead of saying, no, I'm not a whiner, Trump embraced it like judo. He took the force of the label and said,
I am a whiner, and I'm a whiner, and I keep whining and whining until I win. And I'm going to win for the country, and I'm going to make our country great again.
So he changed whiner into the biggest voice for change. And he did it with just a few words. It's amazing. Likewise, if Trump says anything about capitalism,
listen to this one.
In the context of the Pope, it's just not going to come out right. So instead, Trump doesn't take the bait.
what do you say in response to the Pope?
I'd say ISIS wants to get you.
It's such a big, bold thought.
He talks to you about capitalism. You scare the Pope?
No, I'm going to have to scare the Pope.
All your attention just goes to that. He uses vagueness as a tool.
Oh man, and we're just halfway through this thing. And
spot on.
This was from 2016. This video we're watching,
and it's so that's impressive because I think most of the world was still trying to figure out how Donald Trump won 4 years after he did win.
Right.
And he seemed to call it right there. It is fantastic to see it laid out so poignantly.
And I forgot about some of those moments. I'll tell the Pope, ISIS wants to get you. I may have to scare the Pope.
And I think if Jeb Bush didn't develop a drinking problem after that campaign, he probably should have.
Oh my God. But vagueness is the next technique.
This is a trick I learned in hypnosis class. Sometimes you want to tell a story in a way that lets people fill in the blanks with whatever would make them the happiest. So if Trump has a vague idea about foreign policy,
Just like I have the Chinese banks in my buildings, they listen to me, they respect me.
or a vague idea about the economy,
My economy will expand so rapidly. We're going to take jobs back from other countries.
or a vague idea about how to handle ISIS,
I would end ISIS forcefully.
people fill in the blanks with brilliant plans that are their own plans. It's more of a strategy than you imagine it is. But he has another thing going for him. He's developed the Trump persona over many years. He can do what nobody can do as a politician. He can change his mind.
Raising the Social Security retirement age to 70. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, not anymore.
He can say, I'm not going to tell you what I'll do. I'll just hire good people to do it.
I have the smartest people on Wall Street lined up already.
And he also can tell a joke. He can be outrageous.
I'm worried if you're president, I'll get deported. All right? That's what I'm worried about.
We're going to try like hell to keep you here, Bill.
You see apple pie and flags and eagles coming out of his ass when he talks. A lot of people ask me what could bring down Donald Trump. Probably there's no defense. And that's why I predicted he probably will win the presidency based just on skill. I've said that if Trump wins, it might change how we see the world, not just how we see politics, but how we see humans and how humans are influenced and how little reason has anything to do with what we do. In my book, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, I write about the moist robot idea. It's the idea that humans are essentially robots that are made of meat. In that world, emotion and influence and all the techniques that Trump uses are really the only things that explain what's happening in the world. Reason will never be a satisfying explanation of what you see.
We're going to build a wall, and we're going to create a border. It's going to be a great wall, and it's not going to be very expensive.
I find it terribly interesting that you can defend an entirely different view of the world with the same data that's used to defend the standard model. So whenever I can do that, I'm so there, because as soon as you realize that the model you've been looking at maybe isn't so firm as you thought, then you're free.
Man, he called it.
Boy, did he. Wow.
Like the way we not just see politics, but see the world. Look at where we are now, essentially 10 years later. He's right. He was right.
Yeah, he was. Man.
I don't even know what to say after that.
It is fat, man. You see it so clearly whenever he lays it out with the video clips, and there's so many. If he were to make that now, he would have so much more to work with. It is that repetitiveness. Like, it's not what people. I think what irritates most of the elites about Donald Trump is that they feel, rightfully so, that they are objectively more intelligent than him, without understanding that there are different kinds of intelligence.
Yep.
I'll say this. You and I both are infinitely more informed than Donald Trump about just about everything. If you were to put you and me and Donald Trump and 50,000 other people on an island right now, come back in 10 years, Trump would be the leader.
Oh, of course.
Because he just has that, whatever it is. It's like those people that just make money, they fart and they make $1 million.
Yep.
That's a chip I don't have.
Well,
just like he has whatever chip just creates a movement like that you only really see once every couple hundred years. He has that chip. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, and he's humanized himself. Watching those old clips, he also seems like a different person himself now. That you're seeing the actual guy behind the scene.
Yeah.
And you're right. I don't think he's read that many books. Yada, yada, yada. But I think what his gift is he's had conversations and built relationships with a massive network of people, of very smart people. He's not lying when he says that. I know all the smart people. He does. He knows. And when you look at the family pedigree, like his uncle, John Trump, and you're like, wait, that guy was called in to review Tesla's files? So you're talking about a guy that is, I think, he's not about, let's reason this out in a very clear way. He's more instinct. But I think he is still operating with a pretty...
full deck.
Yeah. And it's like, you got to wonder how much of this is conscious for him. Yeah. Like all these little techniques. Or is he just, because he's constantly been on the go, talking with so many people, making so many decisions every other day, if not every day, every hour, then he sort of just develops this skill.
I think Trump is an eye detector, and what that is someone who can. It's essentially a hyper form of empathy, or not? A hyper form of empathy where you can really inject yourself into the way that someone thinks.
Yes.
That's why his insults and his compliments are so strategic, because it's a purpose. And I think he's learned that over his years.
And not just to back up what you said, Howard Lutnick did an interview with this Commerce Secretary who's known Trump since 9/11.
Yeah.
Except for 30 before 9/11. Said that him and Trump would go chase the same girls when they were young. And then they got to know each other in business, did business together. Both very successful. And Lutnick said of Trump, that guy can sit in a room, first time he meets somebody, like he sits down right now, he would know exactly how to piss us off or persuade us. He just knows it. He knows exactly what to say. And it's like, it is truly a gift. How do you develop that? Are you born with that? Maybe a little of both. The nature nurture argument. I mean, it's a very real thing. And I do like that we're seeing more of not just the guy himself. He really was humanized in the 2024 campaign, especially after the assassination attempt. But I think you're now starting to see more and more people that used to pull their hair out. Some are still doing it, sadly. Go, oh, I kind of get the method to his madness.
Yeah.
You're starting to figure it out.
The problem is, and this is sort of the Conor McGregor, I don't know if you follow the ascension of Conor McGregor, is that it's not something that can be replicated.
No.
And you see people try and they just fail.
Right.
Because you either have it or you don't. And going back to what you said about, he's probably not read that many books. He doesn't have to.
No.
It's like the people that used to complain about Allen Iverson and and not showing up to practice. He didn't have to. Right. He was great, and he didn't need to. Same with what's the guy who loves Kim Jong-un now? Dennis Rodman. Same thing. That guy would party and do cocaine and visit with ladies of the evening a day before a championship game, show up on 4 hours of sleep and absolutely mollywop people. And getting mad at that doesn't make it any less real. And I think now people are slowly starting to realize, man, us complaining about Trump isn't changing him.
And he's starting to surround himself with people who are former enemies. I think I first heard Andrew Schultz make this point. Look at J.D. Vance. He is in a broken home. He is in a situation where he could have been in a ditch somewhere, if not in prison, or just not living life well. Not only gets out of that, gets into Yale, not only goes to Yale, but excels at Yale, meeting some of the smartest folks. He's very early in on a lot of the Silicon Valley stuff. He says nasty, awful things about Trump, but writes his life story that becomes a bestseller where everybody across the board on the left and in corporate media is praising him. And then somehow J.D. Vance convinces, I think, Don Jr. first, but then convinces Trump himself, no, pick me, I'm on the team now. That's another guy who's got some X factor that you can't quite put your finger on.
Oh, that man's going places.
Yeah. And he doesn't try to copy Trump. That's the thing.
Exactly.
He's being himself, but it's another unique skill set and skill stack. Anyway, I got to hit this quick last break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Attention business owners. Did you know that about 90% of employees and customers are unhappy when they walk into a dirty building? Let Janny King, the king of clean, keep your business pristine. Janny King's local franchise owners can handle your cleaning needs with reliable, hands-on cleaning solutions that deliver more than just a clean space. Janny King comes with regional support, which ensures consistency and quality, allowing you to focus on all the other needs of your business. Go to JannyKingCleans.com.
Janny King, the king of clean.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The River Region's first and only News Talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. This part of the program brought to you by Ray Bowles and the great team there at Prattville Carpet. They're ready to help you out. With any resurface job, new carpet, maybe traditional hardwood, could be you want to lay some new ceramic tile down in the bathroom or a new backsplash there for the kitchen. They can help you with all that. Call them up today for a free in-home measurement. That's 285-8117 is their number. They show up quick. They measure out the area you want to resurface. You pick out the product. The job gets done just like that. Again, that number, 285-8117. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. So what did we learn today, Craig? Did we learn anything?
We learned that Eddie will avoid coming into the show and make up allegedly having to work just so he doesn't have to stare me in the face and know that he has to feed.
Oh, I got to work. I have to cruise around on my boat on the lake and look at property.
Oh, property. I have to wear snake boots.
I have to play with my drone.
I am dressed in a Coors Light shirt or Busch Light. Excuse me.
Busch Light, yeah. No, that's insulting. It's Busch Light.
How dare you? I actually really missed him today. Like I said, today was supposed to be my high day, so I was looking forward to his snacks.
I know. But he's out there around the lake, skipping around in his Crocs and
sashaying. He's sashaying.
He does sashay.
I bet he can sashay with those dad calves up and down while avoiding stepping on snakes.
He grew up with like 5 or 6 sisters. He had to learn somewhere.
How many times do you think they put makeup on him?
He's not here to defend himself. We should stop.
No, that's the best time to attack is when someone can't defend themselves. Ask the Israeli. No, what?
No. Well, and I just want to remind folks, y'all go check out the 1819 podcast, the interview Brian Dawson did with Craig Monger here. Pretty good stuff. Just a review.
Thank you.
And appreciate you being here today. Show flew by.
Hey, man, I tell you, you were complaining. I didn't do preparation. We're always better when we wing it.
Oh, yeah. More winging it in the next week, but I'm off on Monday.
Speaking of winging it, I need to know this for no other reason than it just came to mind. Blue cheese or ranch on your wings?
I do both.
I'm the same way. I like ¿por qué no los dos?
It depends on the blue cheese. I don't like the one that has too much tang and funk, like it's a salad dressing sort of blue cheese. No, I like one that's more of a it's a little milder, but then you get the cheese chunks.
Yeah, I like the chunks. You gotta have the chunks.
Yeah, like Sinclair's, their blue cheese.
I've never been to Sinclair's.
Oh my God, their blue cheese is fantastic. That's really good on their wings.
Yeah, I love ranch. Is great. I love me some ranch. I've actually one of the best diet hacks I have is you take some fat-free cottage cheese and then add the ranch powder and blend it up. Yeah. And it's essentially the same thing for like a tenth of the calories. It's wonderful. I deserve the Nobel Prize.
And now I'm hungry again. Hey, y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour with Greg. He's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM.